Hello and welcome to the 24 Hours of Sebring. This is the final segment of the race, and the drivers are getting ready on track. So it all comes down to this. After starting with 25 drivers and over 21 hours of go, we began. Now there's only 13 left. They have 3 hours to go before we hit the final 24-hour mark. So we'll have to see who can win that. Before we get started, though, I do want to extend a thank you to Joseph Anesto, Anthony McCrory, James Silverfox, Robert Piet, Seth Cole, and James Pinter, as they helped with the other segments that I didn't cover, and without them this would not be possible. So thank you guys for the excellent coverage, and let's hope that this segment goes well as well. Let's take a look through the field as we go to our rear chase camera. On pole is Joshua Collard. Joshua Michaels went to victory lane last segment. To the outside is the 35 car of John Cittadino. They've been in it for a while. Stephen Carter in the 53. And to the outside it's Brandon Crasta. Then we have Nick Pericles in the 15. To the outside is Jason Trost in the 14. They are followed by the 67 of Anthony McCrory and Thomas Beatty in the 83. Next on track, we have Dylan Thoreau, who went to victory lane in segment number 2. And Luis Hernandez in car number 3. Then we have the 11 of Daniel Voiles, and to the outside is John Smith, who also went to victory lane in segment number 5. And rounding out the field, it's Seth Cole in car number 13, starting in position 13. Let's hope 2 unlucky numbers make him lucky for this last segment. Now, to get you guys recap before we start, the drivers who have won the segments, we've actually had a different car win every segment. Dan Bandon went to victory lane in segment 1. Dylan Thoreau took segment number 2, followed by Jordan Demis in segment 3. Zachary Fitzwater brought the 11 car home in segment number 4. John Smith in segment 5. Kyle Thomas in the 77 finally rallying back to the front in segment 6. And segment 7, Joshua Michaels went to victory lane. So those are the drivers that will be receiving monetary bonuses, plus the winner of this segment, who will win the entire thing. Also, we need to keep you up to date on drivers who have gone to backup cars. Only 3 drivers in this field are driving the original car they started with. Stephen Carter, the 77 of Brandon Crasta, and Dylan Thoreau. All 3 of them have not wrecked their race car yet. If they can make it to the end of this segment with their car intact, they will also receive a reward at the end of the race. As for everyone else in the field, if they wreck in this event, that means they're done for good, though it doesn't really matter since there's not a segment after this. It's just a matter of finishing the event, so no matter what, if you go out of this segment, you are out of the race, but those 3 drivers will get a bonus if they finish the race with the car they started. Now, we have to go over the rules of this segment, just in case you haven't followed the rules of the previous segments. The time will start at about the 5-minute and 55-second mark. That's when our 3 hours will start, so that means the race will finish up at the 3-hour, 5-minute, and 55-second mark, or whatever they cross the line, the start-finish line. It's usually been the 5-minute, 55-second mark. So that's why we have not gone under green yet. So, we only have about 1 minute to go as we take a look at this field. We are going to take a quick break, and we will get back to you when they start the event. We are back, and the cars are rolling. Now, who are we going to look out for in this segment? I personally will be looking out for cars number 12 and 11. They've been strong all race long. But you can't count out drivers like the 77 of Brandon Crasta. The 77 car has bounced back, and they've been putting on a good effort as well. The 15 car may even have a shot at it. You could also get maybe a surprise. That 53 machine up front, kind of a dark horse near the front of the pack. So many questions to answer. Here we go, one more time. Green flag is out in the 24 Hours of Sebring segment number 8. And they did start at the 5-minute 55-second mark. 3 hours begins now. Joshua Collard pulls out to a race lead. John Ciardino not going to get the jump on him. Alex Allen trying to make a pass to the outside. They've been running 2 by 2 with the exception of Collard, who is out front. Gotta watch out here. We'll take a look back here as the 53 machine almost went off track. John Ciardino runs it a little wide, and that's going to lose him the coverage on car number 7. Cresta pulled back in line, but look at that. He might get passed by Nick Pericles, car number 15. Gotta watch out in this turn. This is a very difficult turn. Whoa, contact with John Ciardino. Ciardino has been squirrely so far in this segment. Collard pulling out to a huge lead. We have a 3-car draft, now a 4-car draft between Ciardino, Cresta, and Trost. There goes the 15 of Nick Pericles, making quick work of these competitors, trying to make it by the 53 of Stephen Carter. As the 7 of Joshua Collard has a pretty hefty lead so far. Things starting to go into single file as we head toward the latter half of the course. They're all going to make it just fine. I don't think we've seen any incident on track yet. Collard out front. Seth Cole still bumping near the rear. Only 2 drivers out of line. Well, actually 1 driver now. That was Daniel Voiles, but looks like he's going to fall back into line right in front of Dylan Thoreau. Heading back up to the front, Joshua Collard is going to lead this first lap unless something goes terribly wrong in this corner, which it will not. So Collard leads lap number 1 of what will be many in this segment. Currently approaching 2 minutes into the segment. There is the 15 of Nick Pericles following close behind. He has closed that gap up. See if he can make it on the inside of the 7. Checking a little further back. There's a battle between Trost and Hernandez. Hernandez is getting kind of loose. He's got to be careful there. He doesn't want to wreck this car this early. He wants to be in competition for it near the end. Almost got sent off the racetrack, but he is going to defend off Anthony McCrory. And he will keep racing. These drivers get a little too close for comfort in this turn. Not much position change near the back here, as a lot of these drivers staying in their same spot. Nick Pericles has made it by the 7 of Joshua Collard. So make that Pericles out front, Collard second, and Carter in third. Now let's talk a little bit about Nick Pericles. Nick Pericles ran a long time for Oriole Racing. Runs that in the Utica Home Trek Series. Has made some appearances in other racing series. Not much of a road racer based on our experiences, but showing his own today. He almost had a good run earlier in a previous segment. So he does have a chance here. Looks like he's been practicing here at the Sebring International Speedway. Carter is going to work his way into second place past Joshua Collard. Stephen Carter from Utica Rallycross fame, which is a little more extreme than regular Rallycross, though he's had experience in that as well. That may transfer over a bit to the road racing experience, though he's not dealing with as many jumps or off-roading segments. So, but he has driven open wheel on them. That's the car of choice for the Utica Home Tracks, the Utica Rallycross series. They run open wheel. So Carter does have experience with that. Splitting this car with Alex Allen and also Alex Pedro for the Allen Racing team. They've had a decent run so far. A lot of ups and downs, but currently sitting in second place. They're in a good position to maybe win this race. Let's take a look back to fourth place, Thomas Beatty. 83 Machines had a good run so far. Has not been to victory lane yet, but they've had some solid efforts, especially from Alyssa Kirby, who's been one of the breakthrough drivers of today. A relative unknown, but was doing very well in her respective segments. Thomas Beatty has a little more experience, has run some Utica Home Track Series, also ran in a couple other events. Had some decent runs, kind of a self-made man himself. Team changed names to Triton Motorsports. They're working in conjunction with the Racing for Diabetes team that Kirby signed up for the bill. Beatty's going to get by Collard, and looks like Collard seems to be dropping back. He's reporting over the radio that this car is not handling as good as it did the first lap, so really it quickly dropped off for car number 7. Let's hope that he can salvage it by the end of the race. He does have a while to go, so it's not like they're done for just yet. There's John Sedino in 5th place. He's made some appearances today. 35 team going into this event was one of the favorites to do really well, but they have had a lot of struggles. This car, with the same applies to 7, has been racing since segment number 2. They both wrecked their cars in segment 1 and have been able to survive all this time. So it would be a shame if they went out in this segment, because that would kill the momentum that they were going for. Ciudadino is a road racer. He does have several road racing victories. He has won at Watkins Glen before. He's also won on the Monaco circuit, along with several other series and events. He's also a Snickers Cup Series champion, winning a couple of road courses in that as well. So Ciudadino has experience. Whoa, 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 whoa! What happened to car number 3? Oh no, Luis Hernandez has gotten off track into the wall, and that is going to be terminal for him. So Luis Hernandez, after 4 laps of racing, not going to be able to finish this final segment. That's a real shame for Hernandez. He was hoping to salvage something. This 3 machine has not been on point today. They're hoping to at least get a top 10 run, but looks like Luis Hernandez is going to be the first car to pull out today. He's going to try and limp it back. We'll take a look here. There's a pass going on. John Smith trying to pass Jason Trost. Trost has been losing a lot of ground in this segment. Jason Trost of the DuPont Cup Series fame. He and John Sedino actually have been working together. Sedino is one of his drivers for that. But Sedino has not done an exceptionally good job there. Trost has done a little bit better. But John Smith, car number 21, faring pretty well in that preferred... What is that sponsor? It's hard to read these sponsors sometimes because much smaller billboard space for these guys. I think it's preferred refrigeration, if memory serves me correct. But John Smith's having a great run in that machine. Just see if he can make it back to the front. Speaking of the front, Nick Pericles still leading the 53 of Steven Carter. Carter looks like he is trying to eat into that gap, and he's actually a little bit faster this time. Beatty's starting to pull away from Ciudadino for 3rd place. Ciudadino actually got by Collard as well, so Collard is dropping through the field. Let's continue going through the field where we left off. There's Brandon Krasta. Krasta has made some NNSCRA starts, but I don't know too much about him other than that. Started to appear in some series, so a new face, a new talent, entering one of the most challenging races we've ever had. So, see if he can bring the 77 car to victory lane for the 2nd time of the event, as Kyle Thomas has already done the deed in segment number 6. Jackie Tang's the other driver of that car. He actually won the pole for this event, so for those who are just tuning into the 24-hour event, the 77 car started on pole, had some trouble early on, fell a couple laps down, and spent the rest of the race playing catch-up until segment 6 when they actually won the event. He's been running up near the front ever since. Now, one more segment to go, one more chance to win the race. Following close behind is Anthony McCurry in the 67, an endurance driver. Head of an endurance series that he runs on his channel. And that's it's some quality racing, has a lot of good. They actually ran the 2.4 hours of Le Mans, which that was a pretty long event for these drivers. It was kind of taxing for them. This is even more so, as they have not only doubled it, they've multiplied it by 12. So, John Smith's going off track a little bit. Looks like he's going to lose a couple positions because of that, and that's going to hurt him. But looking at McCurry as he's trying to go for a pass on Brandon Krasta, can he make it work? McCurry's been trying to make some passes today, but nothing's been able to connect. Looks like he'll do it this time. So McCurry is going to move up a spot into what would be 6th place. Talked a little bit about Jason Trost in the 14. Let's go back to Daniel Voiles in the 11. So Daniel Voiles running in the Utica Home Track Series, but has not had a lot of success. He won the Royal Rumble in that, so he's good at surviving stuff. But he's just really struggled at qualifying in that series. Has many series under his belt. Not an exceptional lot of wins, but Voiles is on a good team. They've got a good operation here. Zachary Fitzwater has gone to victory lane in segment number 4, and Henry Nova's had some good runs with them. Nova is also the current Rookie of the Year leader as Jason Trost goes off track. Fortunately, he doesn't make any contact with anything. He will lose ground on the leaders, though, so this may have been the nail in the coffin for Trost's final segment. Though, maybe that's a little bit premature of me to say. He does have a lot of time to go, but he's going to have to play catch-up and maybe get lucky on these pit strategies if he hopes to catch up. He may have even flat-spotted those tires, so he may have to worry about that now. He may pit early, so that could throw him off cycle and decide his pit strategy for the rest of the race. So let's go back a little bit more. John Smith, there isn't much to say. He has gone to victory lane, but we know so little bit about the driver. We don't have much of a frame of reference to talk about him. But John Smith has proved himself as a driver today, driving that 21 machine. Fastline Auto Racing was running with Logan York, John Smith, and Alyssa Fields. All three of them minor drivers, up-and-coming talent. Drivers that have not made a big impact yet. The driver with the most experience is probably Logan York, who ran some NASCAR Regional Pro Cup Series events as a replacement for Alex Tanker. But the 21 machine has had a great run. They've been one of the big underdog stories of the event, and we wish them the best for this segment. There's Dylan Thoreau in the 12, who just isn't moving forward. They're wondering what's going on with that 12 machine that was so dominant in the early stages. Completely wrecked segment 2 as they put on such a show. They dominated the entire thing and ended up winning the event. 12 car also did really well with Connor Vale, who's a newcomer, and PJ Williams, who's the team owner. They actually announced that PJ Williams will be going into Utica Home Track Series competition, so he'll give it a shot there. He's also been running in a couple other events. But Dylan Thoreau needs to pick up the slack, as he is currently sitting in the 10th place position, just on the outside of that top, grasping onto that top 10 spot. He wants to be in victory lane as, whoa, we look back near the front there, Brandon Crasta getting by the 67. There's the 11 of Daniel Voiles trying to make a move to the outside. He's got to be careful because that's the turn where that 11 car has wrecked before. Can Voiles get the line? Or will McCurry block him? McCurry's going to get ahead of him. And I think that's going to shut the door on the 11 car, at least for now. I also noticed that Joshua Collard has gotten by John Ciadino, so Collard moves back up to the 4th place position. Look at that, here comes McCurry trying to pass Crasta once more. This has been one of the biggest battles on track between McCurry and Crasta. And it looks like Voiles might be trying to see if he can sneak underneath the 77 as well. Not sure if he has the speed there to catch up. And he does not. It looks like, I don't know. Crasta could get the preferred line, but nope. Pulls back in the line. And that's going to even out the field there. Let's talk about Seth Cole. Seth Cole, very well-known character in the racing world. Snickers Cup Series, along with his Mobile One Series and his Oreo Series. The Oreo Truck Series. Has run in many series. ARCSOA Competition, Utica Home Track Series. Has a lot of success to his name. But what would really put the icing on the cake? Winning the 24-hour event. He's splitting this number 13 machine with Chris Washer and Dylan Poteet. They had some struggles early on, but they've been able to keep in the show. He's passing Dylan Thoreau. He's going to get the spot, so Dylan Thoreau must be having a problem because Thoreau is just not having the speed he had previously. Now look at this, Anthony McCurry trying to make a move on John Cittadino. Two road racers battling it out. Can he get it? No, gets the door shut on him. 67 car started off with Alex Hawkins. Went to McCurry. Ralph Mason also had a chance behind the wheel, though I think Mason had a lot of trouble with his run. McCurry hoping to put the icing on the cake, get the victory today. And we've basically talked about every driver on track, just so you know who they are, what they're racing for, and their experience. Jason Tross has actually lost the field by a good margin. He's not picking up any ground. He may have flat spotted those tires. So I say that pitting will be a blessing for Trost. He'll be able to try and catch up, but he's going to be pretty far behind. I'm not sure if Trost is going to have it for this race unless he gets some luck handed his way. John Smith losing some ground. Currently only ahead of the 13 of Seth Cole. And speaking of which, Seth Cole trying to make the pass. Cole trying to make some moves so he can make his way toward the front. Side-by-side battle between the two. Cole's got the preferred line, but if Smith can hold him off until the hairpin turn, then John Smith may be able to get the advantage. No, gets sent wide. Seth Cole might have it. And, ooh, this could be a close battle. Logan York done? Yes, he is. But he's still sticking to that inside. There we go, underneath. Car number 13 trying to keep that position. Now Smith has the preferred line. He might be able to run away with it, but this is a close side-by-side battle. Cole's not giving up, but Smith has got a good inside line. Says Cole trying to get the momentum. Now he's got the inside. Also a battle in front of them between Daniel Voiles and Brandon Crasta. I mean, this is not a battle for the lead, but this is still a good battle nonetheless. The 21 car is going to win that one. The 11 car is going to win on the Crasta battle. Nick Pericles still out front. Has not had a challenge from the 53 car, who I think is just riding it out there, making sure that they keep in competition. But Pericles starting to pull away on these long stretches. The 53 car has not been the fastest car today. They're not running with like the best equipment. Allen Racing has had some okay runs. They've gone to victory lane, I think, only once in their career. At least that I know of. I know they've won at Daytona in the Utica 66 with Andreas Allen, but the team itself has not had a lot of success. The fact that they're second right now is really impressive to me. And the Charbroil machine having a great effort 10 laps into this event. Looking at the clock, we've gone for about 19 minutes so far. That's only a small fraction of what we have left to go, as this is a 3-hour segment to cap things off. Your pole sitter was Joshua Collard. He's dropped back to 4th place, as Thomas Beatty sitting in 3rd place trying to catch up to the lead cars. See if we got any battles going on near the back there, or anything that could result in one. You might see one here with Anthony McCurry, who's been moving his way up through the field. See, he's looking low. He wants to get by Joshua Collard. He just needs to gain some ground on him. Other than that, everyone started to spread out a little bit. Haven't seen too much of a battle on track between anyone. Voiles might be able to make it past it on Cittadino, but he's got to make sure he catches up as well. Here comes McCurry to the inside. He's trying to steal 4th place away. He currently sits in the top 5. However, Collard's got the preferred line. And look at that, McCurry runs it wide. Not giving up though. He's trying to pass to the inside lane. Tries for the crossover move. He's going for another crossover. No, I don't think it's going to work just yet. He may have shot though. He's right on the back bumper. McCurry racing early on, trying to get himself in the position to potentially win this segment. 67 car has not gone to victory lane in the segment. And also I do want to mention, winning a segment has proved very well, as McCrory makes the pass on Collard finally. As now we have a battle between Voiles and Cedeno. Cedeno's going to let him go. Winning the segment has had a big survival rate. Of the 7 drivers who have won the segment, 5 of them are still in the race. Only 2 drivers have gone out. The 18 car with Dan Bandon, who won by an inch in segment number 1, ended up going out of the race. They were running with Angel Navarro and Jeffrey Finguy. And Jordan Dempsey in the 34 car, they had a lot of problems today. They won that segment, but went out with, I think Alan Cavanaro was driving the car at the time. But James Shelioff's got a chance behind the wheel. So up front, with several car lanes over the 53, is Nick Pericles. He's in your lead, followed by Stephen Carter, Thomas Beattie, Anthony McCrory, Joshua Collard, your top 5. Daniel Voiles has really worked his way through the pack. He has a good race car. I like to see this car shine in the late going of this event. As Voiles started near the tail end of this field, worked his way all the way up to 5th after 11 laps of racing. And we do have quite a bit of single file. Let's continue going through the field. The sixth place is Daniel Voiles. John Cedeno in 7th, followed by Brandon Crasta in 8th. There is John Smith in 9th, rounding out your top 10 is Seth Cole. Dylan Thoreau in 11th. 12th is Jason Trost, and Luis Hernandez is the only car to go out of the event. Luis Hernandez, driver in several different series. I'm not sure if his success level had some moderate success, but not today, as that 3 machine went out of the event. Do we have any close battles? Looks like Voiles is trying to catch up to the 7 of Joshua Collard. I think that could be the closest battle on the racetrack right now. That's going to be a battle for 5th place, which is kind of a biggie. Seeing as there's only 13 cars left in the race, the top 5 is kind of like a top 10 to these guys. To keep wrecking like they have all race long, this may end up like an Indy Lights event. We have only a few cars on track, but Voiles still trying to make that effort on the 7. Not sure if he can get it. He is catching up a little bit in the hairpin. Starting to look low. Looks like he may have a shot at it. He does have the preferred line going into the turn, but it eventually will turn to Joshua Collard's preferred line, so he's got to work fast. Inside has proven to be better. Collard not giving it up just yet. The 11 car dives into the turn. Looks like he's actually going to get it. So Voiles moves himself into the top 5. Now we look a little further ahead to Anthony McCrory. He has made it past a couple of cars, but he still has to catch up to the 83 of Thomas Beattie, though that does not look like a huge gap. Look at the gap in front of Beattie. Good portion of this straightaway separates Carter and Beattie. So if McCrory's hoping to get the lead, he's got a long ways to go. No pit stops as of yet. 12 laps of racing so far. Not sure what these guys' pit window is going to be. All these changing conditions between day and night. It's been hard to calculate the tire wear and the fuel mileage. It's been difficult. A lot of different conditions on these cars throughout the day. See, if you're running within like a span of 3 hours or even 1 hour, you can better calculate what you're expecting because you know what the weather's going to be at that time. But when you have this long event, the weather can change so much throughout the day. Now, we are in Florida, so it tends to be relatively sunny out here. We haven't had too much in the form of cloud cover, but a couple segments have gotten a little bit of a higher cloud layer, and plus the entire nighttime segment throws everything into question. Cedeno's a nice car to try and pass Collard. It looks like I think Collard is the reason why there's such a huge gap between everyone. Collard is just not as quick as the rest of the field. He has something that's up with that car. Now, this is the car they won with in the last segment. So something must have gone wrong on the start. Now they've been racing a little too heavy. John Smith tries a risky maneuver. Not going to work. I think that's rookie inexperience there. That was not a move that should be taken. But he's still going for another attempt on Brandon Crasta. But I'm not sure that was a good move either. He almost lost a spot to Seth Cole. Seth Cole was in that preferred line for a second, but Smith is going to pull down quickly. Dylan Thoreau still trying to catch up. And it's surprising since we've seen a lot of passing in this tail end of the field. But Dylan Thoreau has not been able to get by anyone today. As John Smith tries again on Brandon Crasta. Wonder what Seth Cole's going to do, if he's going to go with him. Whoa! Dylan Thoreau throws it wide, but Seth Cole's going to go down pit road. And he's going to be the first car to do so today. So pit stops may start soon as Seth Cole deciding to come down the pit lane. See how quick this pit stop will go. If he'll gain ground or if he'll stay about the same. I mean, he can't lose too much more. He only has 2 drivers behind him. So now the big question, since Cole's gone down pit road, who's going to come down pit road next? It'll also give us a little bit of insight as to what the fuel mileage is. I think the longest I've seen a car stay out on track was maybe 25 laps. Which was a pretty long time on this circuit. Considering that it's 2 minutes to get around the place. 225, that's staying out for 50 minutes. But I think the only driver that was able to do that was it Dan Bandon? I'm pretty sure it was Dan Bandon. Who, despite not being able to finish the race, was a wizard at the fuel mileage. Ran out just as he was coming to the line. So they got their fuel mileage really close, and that was a really good first segment. I was really happy to see that in segment number 1. I think that really gave some drive to this event. Looking at the 14 car, that's the car that lost out in segment number 1. Tanner Sullivan almost took the win there. But it went to that number 18 machine. So Tross is hoping to get the 14 car into victory lane for this segment to make up for that, but he's at the opposite end of the field. He is ahead of Seth Cole right now, but Tross is going to have to pit at some point. Let's take a look. We're on lap 14. Who's going to make the trip down pit road, if anyone? Collard looking a little low, but not going to make the drive down pit road. No one. So for Seth Cole, this could be a good thing, as he is running with much fresher tires than anyone else, and if they keep staying out all these laps, he'll be able to make up some ground, but has he lost too much by pitting too early? As you can see, the 14 of Trost is going into like the first turn segment. Cole has yet to even cross the line yet. I think he's about half the circuit behind the leaders right now. As things have actually tightened up a little bit near the front, as Thomas Beattie has not been particularly quick after making it by all those drivers. He's been faster than Collard, but McCrory and Voiles have been much quicker this event. They are catching up. Stephen Carter still holding his ground, has not been able to put a huge dent into Pericles' lead, but he's not lost him in any way. Here's a pass for Dylan Thoreau, trying to make it by John Smith, but John Smith does have the preferred line. Dylan Thoreau needs to stay in that outside line because it will eventually go in his favor. Runs it wide. Still battling for it. He might be able to get it on the big stretch. Yeah, it looks like he will. So Dylan Thoreau is going to get it. Not right now, then going into the turn, since he's going to have the preferred lane. I've seen a couple drivers get it on the outside lane, but they've been few and far between. Speaking of this section of the track, who's on pit road? Stephen Carter is. So Carter going to make the trek down pit road. Now, Stephen Carter not going for the lead is actually not a bad maneuver, since you're not getting anything for leading any laps today. It's just survival. So Carter, he just saw himself in second place. He just needs to keep himself in position to take the lead when he sees fit. Citadino, Thoreau, and Smith all go down pit road, so Thoreau was just securing himself an extra position when he gets off pit road. Let's hope he doesn't have any trouble on it. Seth Cole, we'll see how he factors into this bunch, if he's going to surpass them. Stephen Carter is coming off the pit lane. I think Carter will beat him. But Seth Cole is actually going to make out on this pit stop. He's going to make it by 3 drivers. Maybe even more if the rest of the field pits shortly. Anthony McCurry making a pass underneath Thomas Beatty. This is for second place. Pericles still has that huge race lead. That's the thing that's the time when position counts. If you have too big of a lead, like Dylan Thoreau had, then you are set for the race. You just need to make sure your pit strategy doesn't mess you up, or if you don't catch any stray cars or lap traffic. McCurry is successful. Voiles going for it. Pericles is starting to get away, but now that McCurry and Voiles are circumnavigating all these slower cars, they may have something for the 15. Speaking of, is he going down pit road? Nope, he likes the lead. He's going to stay out front. McCurry. McCurry will stay out along with Beatty and Voiles. There's Collard and Krasta. Collard's going to stay out, which surprises me a bit. I thought he would have gone down pit road. Jason Tross also going to stay out, so no cars pitting this lap. Carter is the leader of the cars that have pitted, followed by Seth Cole, John Citadino, Dylan Thoreau, John Smith. So Smith is currently last place on track, and I think Smith got a little bit off track there. Nick Pericles, his times have slowed down. If you take a look at the top corner of your screen, his last lap was a 2:02.488, and his best lap was a 1:57. So that's a 5-second difference in lap time. So you can tell his tires are wearing down. This is about the time you start seeing cars come down the pit lane. But they've decided to avoid it for this lap. Tross does have a big lead over Stephen Carter, so he doesn't have to worry about losing it there, but I think he is going to end up back in the 12th place position once we finish up pit stops here. J3 car still holding his ground. Anthony McCurry not gaining a whole lot on the number 15. I think that's because his tires are a little worn, and he's been racing it pretty heavy. As Pericles, we are going to follow him. Can he stay out on track one more lap, or is he going to pit now? We also have to see how this affects Stephen Carter. This could put him in the race lead, as Carter is running on fresher tires. Is starting to catch up. Pericles still on track. And it looks like the top 4 are all going to stay out. Top 5, 6, and Jason Tross is also going to stay out. So these guys still trying to push their fuel mileage. That could be some late strategy, as Stephen Carter and their group are now considered off cycle from the leader. So we have half the field running one cycle of pit stops, half the field running the other. So which one will result in a victory? Because in the early stages of this event, it's about your position on the racetrack, which can determine what you're doing. Once pit stops happen, pit strategy, will factor heavily. It's factored into so many of the results of this segment where we've seen cars pitting with only like 1 lap to go because they did not have enough to make it around that one final time. The strategy is everything here for these 24 hours. Pericles seems to have one of the fastest cars on track, but he's got to see if holding out this long will get him to his window. So, he has stayed out so far for 18 laps. If he can keep that going, he needs to make it to about lap 90. And looking at the calculations, if he stays out, he will need to pit about 5 times throughout this event, but he will end on exactly lap 90. So I think this is what Pericles is trying to do. He's trying to stretch it as long as he can. See if he can make it to the finish. And these other guys, they've pitted early, so they can have some time near the front. Maybe be able to steal it away when they pit later on. Pericles staying out yet another lap. Looks like everyone's staying out. I'm not sure about Collar. I think, is Collar going to go down? Collar does not go down. So 19 laps on track so far. Once again, I did mention this earlier. 25 is the longest I've seen drivers on track without pitting. They do have quite a few laps to go in this event, though. Thing can happen. There's Seth Cole trying to catch up to the 53 car. He's actually made some good headway on the 53. So I think Cole's trying to get a little more out of those tires to get back into position for everything. This 3-car group near the back of John Ciudadino, Gillen Thoreau, and John Smith has not made too much ground. Now, Ciudadino, he's had some speed today, but not a whole lot. Dylan Thoreau's had his struggles. 21 car has been a little off this segment as well, so I think they might be in trouble. They need to start making some adjustments to these cars if they have any chance of making it back out to the front. As Pericles, heading on to the latter half of the course, those drivers are on the beginning portion. How long is Pericles in this group going to stay out on track? So if they go with the 19-lap strategy, they should be good to the finish. However, because Carter and the rest of the pack have fresher tires, they may be able to pull out a gap on these drivers. So it's up in the air. Pericles finally coming down pit road after 19 laps of racing. This would be considered a lap 20 cycle. McCreary's going to stretch it even further. So it looks like Pericles actually might be the only one that goes down pit road. Is Collar going to make the drive? No. So Pericles is going to go for the 19-lap strategy. That might be a good idea, since he's not going to be staying out as long as these drivers. He may be able to catch up with those fresher tires and put himself near the front near the end. So you got to plan ahead with this event. So now Anthony McCreary in the race lead. Taking a look at the clock, we've gone racing for 39 minutes so far. We'll probably take a commercial break at the hour mark, but still sticking with the action. We have a lot of pit strategy going on. These teams hard at work, trying to plan every minute detail to make sure these drivers are in the proper place when the checker flag falls. Cole and Carter been going pretty quick. They're quite a few seconds faster than Jason Trost, and they're actually starting to catch up on their position. So I'm not sure if staying out this long for these guys is a good maneuver in the short run. In the long run, they may have something. So Pericles is actually going to go from the lead to last place on track, 12th. Now, he's not going to fall to dead last since Luis Hernandez has pulled out of the event. He went out on lap 4. But Pericles drops to the back, but has fresher tires. So when the rest of these guys pit, he may have a chance to pass these drivers ahead of him. He has to deal with 5 cars. Back up to the front. These drivers taking out any longer. McCurry's going to come down. Beatty, Voiles following. What about Collard and Crasta? Crasta's going to go down. Collard's going to stay out, and so will Jason Trost. Those are drivers that are desperate for getting track position, as Collard has not been especially fast, and Trost had his slide. Trost is actually caught up to the 7 car pretty well. Yeah, he's actually running a little faster than Joshua Collard. That's not good for the 7 if Jason Trost, who is on incredibly worn tires, is running faster than you. But Carter is starting to catch up to those two. You can see them, they're about a turn away. Now these 4 drivers that have gone on pit road, they are still behind the 15 of Pericles. That loses them some ground on track. They got a long ways to get back up toward the front. They need to probably wait till those drivers make their pit stop. Crasta's getting a pretty slow pit stop. He's back down to 12th, which is now what the 77 team needed, as they've been in almost last place most of this event. So it's Collard and Trost. You're the last to need the pit, and then the pit cycle is over. Pit stop started on lap 13 with Seth Cole, who's trying to do an early pit strategy. Trost and Collard trying to pit late. But I'm not sure if either stream is the best. Well, Cole may have actually won out with his strategy. But Trost and Collard staying out this long is a bad idea. They've ran 21 laps without heading down pit road. But look at this, Seth Cole going underneath the 53 car. The slow car of Trost held up Carter. And now Seth Cole passes the 53. If these two pit this lap, this means that Seth Cole will cycle into the race lead and not Steven Carter. Oh. Yep, they both pit. They both said enough is enough. We're heading down pit lane. Seth Cole is going to be your race leader. He was the first car to go down pit road, so maybe pitting early is the best in the short run. But again, we're not exactly sure long term. Maybe pitting later will help there. I think Dan Bandon was running on the strategy of pit later, and he ended up taking it just by a nose, but he did end up winning the event. So let's go through the field. Seth Cole, known by some as the stunt man, though I don't think he wants to be doing any stunt work in this event, takes the lead. Steven Carter, a stuntman in his own right, running in Utica Rallycross, in second. John Cittadino in third, followed by Dylan Thoreau, who had such a good run in segment number 2, won the event. Now back up near the front of the field. John Smith rounds out your top 5. 6th place is Nick Pericles, who's led the most laps this segment, followed by Anthony McCurry, who got out front for a little bit. Thomas Beatty's in 8th. 9th is Daniel Voiles, and 10th is Brandon Crasta. 11th is Jason Trost in the 14, who's had his struggles so far in this segment. Joshua Collins is going to get a slower pit stop than him. He's going to round out 12th. We take a look at the clock. We've been racing for 44 minutes now. Starting to close in on that hour mark. Only about 15 minutes to that hour mark. Let's see if we can find any battles on the racetrack. Everyone's really split up as of now. Steven Carter is close to Seth Cole, but Cole has been getting a great run out of these tires. The only issue for him, he may use them up too quick, have to pit much sooner than he would like. Though if he's going on the short pit strategy, he will pit a lot, but he'll be able to work his way up to the front. Trying to see if there's any close battles on the track. The closest battle is probably between Thoreau and Citadino, as they are literally on each other's bumpers. Or what you can call bumpers here. These guys are actually running with wings. So it's not like we have like a sturdy bumper that you can go in with. We've actually seen that a little rubbing hurt these drivers. Several drivers have gone out of the race because of contact in this turn. Close call for John Smith. Almost ran to the back of the 12 car. So now John Smith's trying to make the pass. He's not going to get the speed coming out of there. He lost his momentum. Citadino's still trying to hold these guys off and is working pretty well. John Smith has been pretty sporadic on track for this segment. Segment 5 went well for him, but here he's been kind of loose on track. I'm not sure if he thinks it's go time, so now he's trying to go for it, or if there's something ill handling with the car. But Smith has been all over the place today. Back up near the front, see if Stephen Carter has put any gap on the 13. Not precisely. Seth Cole still staying out front. So Seth Cole pitted on lap 13. He's been out on track for 11 laps so far. Now we've seen many of these guys start losing their tires at about 19 laps, which is where we saw a lot of people starting to stay out, like 18, 19 laps. So we gotta see where he's running after that, because he's been actually keeping pretty consistent with his lap times. He's running at the 59-second mark. When we start seeing him in the 2-minute mark, that means his tires are a little worn down. That'll be an advantage to Stephen Carter. Carter is running on fresher tires than Seth Cole, I think by about 2 laps. They have a big lead over John Citadino. Oh! Dylan Thoreau has turned. I think John Smith has gotten into him. So contact between the tires of the 21 and the 12. That's going to hurt Dylan Thoreau's position. Also his tires, as that may have flat spotted them. He loses a spot to Pericles, so Pericles is going to work his way up into the top 5. Pericles running 158.209, so that's a fast lap. That is faster than these front runners. So there is opportunity to catch up. So about 49 minutes have been run in this segment. We are 11 minutes away from the first hour mark in segment number 8. Just have to go through 2 more hours after that. We'll crown a winner. Now I was talking to a bunch of these drivers, see what they felt was the hardest segment of the race, and they said that the night segments were pretty difficult. But they actually said the early segments were kind of difficult because more difficult because of the amount of drivers on track, the relative uncertainty with the racetrack. They said they weren't sure exactly what they needed to do, and given that these guys did not get much of a practice session, all they had was qualifying to dial in these race cars. Now that didn't stop testing. A lot of these guys came down here to test. But conditions had changed, different day. So all they had was a qualifying run that only their primary drivers ran. To dial in their race cars. And plus, many of these guys are in backup cars. The cars that they weren't expecting to be running in this event. So, honestly, the only drivers with setups that are still technically dialed in are the 53, the 77, the 12, but after 24 hours, their setups have changed drastically. The 53 car has improved. The 77 car has gone back and forth, but mostly has been on the decline. And the 12 car was great at the start, but it's fallen off in these later segments. Pericles edging ever closer to John Smith in the 21. Now, Pericles may need to be careful since the 21 has been pretty aggressive. You saw what happened to Dylan Thoreau just about a lap ago. There he goes, trying to make the pass underneath. But he just does not have the run just yet. He has faster tires. He's got a faster race car. Just gotta employ some patience. Look at that. Seth Cole has gone down pit road. So he makes a pit stop. Which is actually surprising since he's been running relatively fast times. I'm wondering why he went down pit road just now. But no matter. Stephen Carter now in the race lead with his 53 machine. Everyone else staying out. See if short pitting will help Seth Cole. You know, you would say that the driver that stays out for a long duration of time would be considered a stuntman. Seth Cole doing the opposite, being very cautious about his pit stops. Still looking near the back, Trost has actually picked up a lot of ground on Collard, so I don't think they fixed what was wrong with that 7 machine. Seth Cole is going to drop to the back of the pack. I think he may even fall behind Collard, but only for a short amount of time. No, actually, Cole's going to beat him off the pit lane. However, Collard's got preferred line and on the inside. Battle for 11th, and Collard's going to win it, but Seth Cole does have fresher tires. He might be able to catch up very shortly. So, we may start a second cycle of pit stops. Now, if we try to remember what happened with Stephen Carter, they pitted about lap 15. That was 2 laps after Seth Cole went down pit road. So Cole went down on lap 13. Now he pitted on lap 25. That was about 7. It was about sorry, as we do mathematical calculations, about 12 laps that Seth Cole stayed out on the racetrack. So that means Carter may be staying out for the 14 laps if they go with the same number of laps each time. Sometimes you'll see people change it up. Sometimes they'll double pit just to get back on someone else's cycle. Nick Pericles has gotten around John Smith, now going after a different John Sayadino, who sits second in that Red Bull machine. This could be the chance for Sayadino to answer the hype from the fans and the predictions that were made. The 35 car was going to win the 24-hour event. Because they do have some great talent there. 3 road racers that are held in high regard: Robert Piet, Joseph Vanesco, and John Sayadino. See if they can deliver. Now, they lost their first race car due to a mechanical issue in segment number 1 with Robert Piet. But they've not had any trouble ever since. So they worked their way back up to the front. That's where they're running right now in second place. Pericles trying to catch up. Carter's still ahead of everyone. No other drivers have gone on the pit lane. Seth Cole is actually losing ground to Joshua Collard, so I don't know what's going on there. Did they make an adjustment on that 13, or I'm not sure what's going on with Seth Cole. They had a car that was running better than drivers on fresh tires. Now he's running worse than Joshua Collard, who's on old tires. So the longest we saw a driver on pit road was 21 laps. So if they go with the same strategy, the next time they would be pitting is lap 42. And that means to make it to the end of the event, they only need to do 2 more pit stops after that. However, that brings them to about lap 84. So the question would be, Can they catch up in that about 6 laps, since we tend to end at about lap 90. That's usually when we reach the 3-hour mark. So Carter across the line, Ciudadino, Pericles, Smith, all close to each other. Thoreau stayed out. And I see no other cars going down pit road. But Seth Cole's the only one that's decided to short pit. Everyone else that pitted near Seth Cole is deciding to stay out a little longer this time. It's a strategy, right? Because the issue with Cole pitting too frequently is that he may just lose so much ground with all these frequent pit stops that he's not going to get the benefit of the tires. I don't think that would be a smart strategy. We'll have to see what Seth Cole and his team think. The NSCRA bunch. So Pericles has actually been pretty stuck on Ciudadino. Drivers have been having trouble with Ciudadino all day long. He's been really holding up that line. Now, not illegal to block another car, but you're not going to earn many points from the other drivers if you are continually blocking. That's what a couple of these drivers have been saying. John Ciudadino has just been really defending that position. He's not had too many drivers get by him. He got passed a little bit early on, but haven't seen many instances of the 35 car getting overtaken by another. As this is actually really hurting Nick Pericles, since he's got to try and work with him. Looks like Stephen Carter is going to head down pit road on lap 29. John Ciudadino goes to the race lead. So Pericles just has the 35 car to deal with. Another car went down. That was John Smith. I think that's all in the way of takers on pit road. Seth Cole's starting to catch up to Joshua Collard. As Ciudadino actually puts a little bit of ground between he and the 15. Couple car lengths, but Pericles can make it up in this turn, and he will. Made it up a little too quickly. Almost got into the back of the 35. About 30 laps in. We've gone 58 minutes on track, so we're 2 minutes away from the hour mark. So we've got some definite pit strategy going on here. Foyles and McCrory, we haven't talked about them too much lately. Played a big factor early on in the event. They were some of the fastest on track. Sitting, well, they're listed 6th and 7th. But their actual position is 5th and 6th. So they moved up a spot because of Stephen Carter. Ciudadino still out front. Will he pit this next lap, though? 35 car is running on a similar pit strategy as Stephen Carter. So he may pit shortly. I don't think he's going to be stretching it. Unless he decides to run his own strategy, not follow the leader. And he'll keep it out on the racetrack. See if anyone goes down pit road this lap. Dylan Thoreau, who spun it out a couple laps ago. And I think that's going to be the only driver to capitalize on pit road. Stephen Carter. Now toward the back in 11th place. So, before we head to a commercial break at the hour mark, let's go through the field quick. John Ciudadino's your leader, followed by Nick Pericles, Anthony McCrory, Daniel Voiles, Thomas Beatty, Brandon Crasta, Jason Trost, Joshua Collard, Seth Cole, Stephen Carter, John Smith, and Dylan Thoreau, who's on pit road. Luis Hernandez is the only driver to pull out of this event. Thank you for watching this segment. We will be back after a 3-minute commercial break to continue with the action here at Sebring. Citadino's your leader. We'll see if he'll still be leading when we come back. Hello and welcome back to the 24 Hours of Sebring here on the Unicorn Trek Series channel. For those expecting something to have changed during the commercial break, nothing has. No one has gone down pit road and there have been no passes for position. But one's starting to happen here as Nick Pericles tried to work to the outside of the 35 machine, not going to work. Citadino has stayed on track for longer than the original strategy. I think he's the only one that's doing that. Yes, that's correct. He's the only driver from the original shorter pit strategy to stay out longer. So Citadino's on a pit strategy all of his own, unless he's trying to switch over to the long-term pit strategy. So Citadino could be a monkey wrench thrown to the finish of this event, since he's running something completely different from everyone else. Either this will really hurt him or really harm him, unless he's trying to get on cycle with the 15. The 15 car is still in second place, but look who's catching up. Anthony McCrory and Daniel Voiles, who were strong at the start of this event, just weren't in the position, as Voiles started near the tail end of the field. McCrory was about mid-pack, so they were able to work their way up close to the front, but just lost Carter and Pericles. Now, since Pericles has been stuck behind Citadino, and running slower lap times because of it, he has had some trouble fending off the oncoming 67 and 11. So the 35 car is still staying out on track, trying to look toward the tail end of the field. We gotta look at Seth Cole, since he was on fresher tires, but he could not make anything happen. So that was a bad stop for him, as he has not made much ground at all. Carter is starting to catch up, though. He's 2 seconds faster than Seth Cole, so he can catch up to him. John Smith and Dylan Thoreau all trying to regain position. But Pericles, car number 15, still on a hunt to win this event now. He split this car with Sean Galligan, who had some really good runs early in the event, and Avis Rapax, who struggled. Nick Pericles has also had a really good run, so other than Avis Rapax having a little bit of trouble, this 15 car has been doing alright. They did go out of the race one time, so this is a backup car. But in terms of a backup car, this is a pretty fast backup car. Now look at this. 4 drivers, all together, all near the front. Citadino still holding them off. Pericles is not happy over the radio by how the 35 car just will not let him by. Pericles is saying he's got fresher tires, and he thinks he should be ahead of the 35, but John Citadino holding him off. Now, the only time the stewards will be weary of it is if you're driving aggressively. Like when John Smith got into the 12 car, they looked at that. They haven't given him anything for it, though. They are giving him kind of like a warning, like, hey, better watch out a little bit. But look at that. A pass on the 15 of Pericles. McCrory goes into second place. Citadino's still staying on the track, and he's running a 2:04:035. I can see why these drivers are upset, as now Brandon Krasta is actually starting to catch up to this front group. Krasta had some, has been running okay so far, has not been directly at the front. But look at this, it's a close battle once again, so though Citadino, it's not been good to these drivers in other ways. He's been good in terms of making it exciting for the fans. As the 11 car of Daniel Voiles is going to sneak under the 15 of Pericles. Takes the spot, now going after McCrory. So can he get 2 cars in 1 lap? Look at that, Voiles with a great pass underneath. Will it work? McCurry's still there, and he's got preferred line. But Voiles is not giving up. He's still to the right of car number 67. Preferred line there, but McCurry is going to be on the inside lane going into this turn. Voiles needs speed. Momentum, he gets that run on the inside. It switches back to the outside, inside once again. All this turning is going to throw off the 67. Voiles is currently ahead, and he's going to get back in line. The 35 of Citadino actually got away a little bit because of that battle. Krasta's caught up, and now Beatty's caught up as well. McCurry trying again underneath the 11 of Voiles. But what of Citadino? Will he pit this lap? No, but McCurry does. So will Pericles and Beatty. So Citadino's actually stayed out longer than the drivers on the long strategy. How will this work for him? Now, if I remember correctly, he pitted lap 15. So he's been out there for 20 laps. 21's been the longest for this segment, and we mentioned before 25 is the longest I've seen anyone run. So we think Citadino will come down this next lap. But man, he is stretching his strategy. I think he wanted to make sure the Red Bull car was out front. Get some television spotlight on it. But Voiles right on the tail end. Whoa, Krasta I think made some contact. The 77 I think made a little bit of contact with the 11. Brandon Krasta is going to go for the pass, and he might be able to get it too. Look at this battle near the back here. Seth Cole to the outside of Joshua Collard. Carter's catching up. Collard does have a run on the inside, but not going to get it. Cole's going to be one of the few cars I've seen make a pass on the outside lane. Oh, and look at this! What happened to Citadino? Citadino's going to get passed by both of them. I think his blocking was long enough. And Krasta is going to be out front in that number 77 machine. They started out this race out front, but lost it immediately. Got back out there in segment 6. Can they end this race out front? Krasta has some experience in trucks, but not open wheel. Will that somehow transfer over to here and make sure that he can get himself in the victory lane? Looks like he's actually pitting this lap, though. So will Voiles, Citadino will follow them. And does this put... No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Yes, it does. Jason Trost will be in the lead. After falling to dead last in the early stages, he's worked his way back up to the front. But he and the 7 have been out on track for a long time. Seth Cole is much faster than the 14. The 53 Stephen Carter is much faster than the both of them. So how will Tross handle this? I'm assuming he's going to stay out this lap and then pit it when we get back to the line. You can never be too sure, since Trost and Collard are going for the as few as possible pit strategy. Make sure they're on pit road for as little as they possibly can. Whoa, Stephen Carter. Risky move to the inside of Seth Cole. I think he wants to make sure he's back out front. And the cycle ends guy. No, I think he knows that Cole's going to probably go down pit road before he does. I think he wants to be ahead of him. That way he's not an issue. Cycling through the rest of the field just now. John Citadino is actually going to come out in last place, so staying out, not going to be good for him in that regard, but he may be able to catch it back up. Because if you look at his position, he is a little ways back, but I've seen drivers fall further than this. And given that Trost is holding people up and Collar's been holding people up, And also the fact that John Sedino was holding people up. He may be able to work his way back up there. Stephen Carter, pass underneath Seth Cole. Trost in the lead, but for how long is he going to pit this lap? He does not, as Trost out on track. He's going to officially get across the line and lead the official lap. Collard's staying out as well, so 2 cars left in the cycle to pit. They are Trost and Collard. Jason Trost, the driver out of Alabama. Collard from the United Kingdom. We've had quite an international crowd here. We've had drivers from many of the United States. We had drivers from the United Kingdom. I believe we had one driver from Lithuania. We had a driver from the Netherlands. Driver from South Korea. So, and we had a Brazilian with Ian Dutta. Also some Canadians as well, so big international crowd out here today. The 21 of John Smith is going to make it by Seth Cole now. Both Smith and Carter with better tires. Then the 13, I think the 13 might go down pit road soon, because he is starting to lose on his lap times. I am amazed that Trost and Collard are staying out this long. But if we take a look at what their pit strategy was, their projected lap time would be lap 42. So they may actually not make it to the full 21 laps this time, since they've dropped off so much trying to race it to the front. Look at this, the 21 car. John Smith underneath of Stephen Carter. Can he take the lead? Because we know Trost has got to pit at some point. So this battle for second is a battle for the lead. Seth Cole is actually pitted. So he's actually pitted more than Trost and Collard combined, actually, since they both made 1 pit stop each. Cole's already on his 3rd pit stop. See what will happen here. So Smith needs to get by Trost, but Trost is a little slower. He's been playing the Sedino strategy of blocking. Can Smith be able to make a run on him? He passed Carter. Now just think about it. These 2 cars, the 21 and the 53, were considered underdog entries going into the event. Drivers that they thought maybe could have done well, but weren't in a position to win this race. Look at that. They're out front. Well, 2nd and 3rd, I would say, as Trost is technically the guy out front. Stephen Carter runs it wide, and that's going to give the spot to Joshua Collard. Carter, I think, pushed it a little too much to try and get by the 21. And now look at that, Dylan Thoreau is caught up as well. Thoreau, similar strategy as Carter and Smith. So Cole's actually going to fall into the last place position on track. Exception of the 3 car of Luis Hernandez, who, if you're just tuning in now, Luis Hernandez has pulled out of the event. He pulled out on lap 4. Back near the pit road. Trost may pit here, but look at that. Dylan Thoreau is going to make it by Joshua Collard. Trost is going to still stay out. And look at that. Stephen Carter has gone down pit road. Unbelievable. Jason Trost and Joshua Collard are still out there. They might make it to that 42 lap mark. I mean, if I were them, I would have pitted by now, but Trost and Collard, both of them know they don't have the fastest race cars today. Trying to see if they can win it by being out front when it counts. Ooh, Dylan Thoreau racing the 21 car a bit hard, and I don't blame him. He is not happy with car number 21 with the way he raced him. Dylan Thoreau will take the position away. So move Thoreau up to second place. Can he go after Trost? Will he have enough to get by the 14 machine? 14's been up and down today. They had a lot of great runs early on, but have dropped off in the latter stages. Tanner Sullivan and Dylan Young are the drivers that shared the ride with him. They're running for Young Motorsports collectively. Though Jason Trost, a team owner himself, brought some of his equipment over with him. He is right on the back of car number 14. Look at that. See if he can make a slingshot move. Car number 12 to the inside. Can he take the lead? Battle for the lead. Takes it with flying colors as Jason Trost, a little slower. 21 car is going to get by him as well. Yet the 14 refuses to go down pit road, so will the 7. They are sticking tight to their strategy of staying out as long as physically possible. See if there's any other drivers on the racetrack that are in a close battle. Doesn't look it. I'm going to just take the time quick to just mention drivers who have pulled out of the race so far in the previous segments that you didn't see this time. The 2 car from Moonlight Racing, it was Ian Dutta, Minazuki, and Eric Cardona. Pulled out. The 3 car went out this segment. The 9 of Duncan, Louvier, and Cisnowski has gone out of the race. So has the 10 of Silver Fox, Myatt, and Hart. Car number 18 of Dan Bandon, Angel Navarro, and Jeffrey Finguy is no longer racing. Same with the 19 of DeMax, Pemberton, and Anthony, which is actually having a great effort early on. Same with the 18. 26 of Bishop, Culp, and Sanford went out of the race a little while ago. The first car to go out of the event was the 28 of Eric and Rage, Chris Aurelio, and Michael Aurelio. Aurelio didn't even get to put down a lap today. The 34 of Cavanaro, Shelley, and Demis met its demise. The 41 of Pollard, Ormond, and Robinson had a lot of trouble throughout this event. They were always near the back of the pack. Their day's finally done. 63 car, the breast cancer awareness machine. They had trouble. Qualls, Dollarton, and Collins. They had such a great run early on. Kyle Collins looks like he could have won the segment. But they pulled out of the race early. So would Colin Bartel, Matt Evans, and John Blackburn. Blackburn didn't get to run a lap at all today. And lastly, Spencer, Witt, and Tanker. Though they put on some good runs early on, were not able to hold on to it near the end. Back up front, we've been racing for 41 laps of racing coverage. We have gone through an hour and 22 minutes on track. Trost and Collard finally worked their way down pit road on lap 42, laps shy of the projected mark. But I think that may be for the better. So if we calculate their run, they run segments like they just now, which was a 19-lap run. Their last pit stop should be lap 79. Then they'll have to make it all the way to the end there. I'm not sure if that's going to work yet. You may need to end up... They need to get it a little closer to the line. Since he would have 11 laps to go, both Trost and Collard would have 11 laps to go if they go with the 19-lap pit strategy on long pitting. They can stretch a couple of these out to 21 laps. They may be able to be up front near the end there, but I'm not sure if a win's in question. So we'll have to see how they can do throughout the rest of this event. Dylan Thoreau still out front, the Minnesota native, running for Jamaica Motorsports, which is a PJ Williams operation. Also splitting it with Connor Vale from the United Kingdom. Really impressed with the way this 12 car has been racing all day. They've had such a strong car. Up near the front, they won segment 2 with Dylan Thoreau. Connor Vale almost won segment number 1, but the pit strategy threw him off. PJ Williams also having a great run today. This team has rarely seen any trouble. I think the start for this segment was their lowest start for any segment. Because segment 7 was not especially kind to them. Stephen Carter is still in last place, and I think he may need to play some catch-up throughout this, because he is having... This may not be able to get him to victory today, unless the rest of these guys start pitting. Not sure what happened to Carter, but pitted much earlier than we thought he was going to pit. Throw him off. Now, Thoreau is probably going to pit within the next 5 to 10 laps. He's running a 2-minute lap time right now. When it starts getting to the 2-minute 3 second, then that's usually when they start coming down. John Smith, a 2-minute 1. Thomas Beattie in 3rd place right now, having a great effort. It's been kind of a silent run for the 83 for this segment. In fact, the past couple of segments, they haven't really made any noise since like segment 1. But they're up near the front. They're giving it their all. There's Brandon Craster, who had a chance out front today. He drops back to the 4th place. There's Anthony McCreary in 5th place, having a solid effort, but hasn't been moving anywhere as of late. Nick Pericles, who led the most laps today. There's Daniel Voiles, 7th place, followed by 8th place John Zedino, who also led a large amount of laps. Though I'm not sure if that strategy helped him any. Seth Cole, who's been back and forth all day. Jason Trost in 10th, followed by 11th place Stephen Carter. Collard's in 12th, so Carter's actually going to work his way by the 7, who is on fresher tires. So, how that works out. It's like Carter may have been saving it a bit. Because remember, you don't have to go all out just yet. You just need to make sure you're in a position to win it near the end. They still have about an hour and a half, because looking at the timer, we are at an hour and 26 minutes into the event. I mean, still have a long way to go. Hour 34 minutes. So, see if we can find any battles on this racetrack. Anything that's getting kind of close. And I say the closest is probably these 3 that are running in close proximity, but I don't think anyone's going to be making any passes anytime soon. Unless someone gets a run going into this turn and be able to catch up to the back bumper of someone. Yeah, like sometimes when they go around that turn, these cars get a little out there. See why a lot of spins happen in that turn. As you see when you saw the 83 car going through there, the back end almost gave out on that. And that has helped Brandon Crasta to catch back up in his number 77 machine. So this has been a hard-fought event. 24 hours, and though the drivers have had it tough, the commentators have had it tough too. That's why we had to switch it between so many channels. It would have been impossible to do all 24 of these hours. I've been getting my my beauty sleep in between segments. I had to take over. We even had to get a little extra segment in here on the Unicorn Object Series channel. We finished up segment number 3. But there is Brandon Crasta in the 77. Still trying to close the gap between he and Thomas Beattie. Oh, look at that. There's a car on pit road. Is that John Smith? Yeah, that's John Smith. So Smith will make the trek down pit road. Dylan Thoreau still keeps the race lead. 2:01. These guys are running... sorry about that. These guys are running about 2 seconds faster than the race leader. They may have a chance to catch up. Let's not count out Pericles either. He's running about the similar lap time as those three running in a row. I mean, 3 different levels of experience here. McCurry has a lot of racing experience. BD has some racing experience, and Krasta, practically a rookie. All 3 of them running close proximity. Oh, Krasta's going to correct himself in that turn. That's going to give Anthony McCurry the position. Though many of these drivers in here may want to be known as their primary driver, the guy who started all, their main driver for the team, the second drivers actually have the biggest weight on their shoulders. They're the drivers that need to win the entire thing. Since we run 8 segments with 3 drivers, that means that driver number 2 will end up in segment 8, which you see right now. So try to put some of their best talent on track for segment 2. Not to say that the drivers in segment 1 are not talented. They needed to be good too. All these drivers are really good drivers. But when they're going for the victory, they need to prioritize who they think can get them there. So when they were planning it out, this is who they thought was going to be able to send them into victory lane. Thoreau's going to stay out on the racetrack. Of course coming behind him, but we hit the hour and a half mark, so we're halfway through this segment, which means only an hour and a half to go. That's how long they need to keep driving for. And also, just think of that. These secondary drivers, once they finish this race, will have raced 9 hours throughout the span of this event. Same with the primary drivers. The tertiary drivers got a little bit easier. They only had to run 6, but that's still quite a task. So Thoreau out front. He's got a pretty big gap over Thomas Beattie. So I think that's why he's staying out a bit longer. He doesn't need to worry about the driver behind him. Though with this, I would actually, if I were driving, I would probably use this big gap I have to make the pit stop before these guys start catching up, because you know these guys are faster. Thomas Beattie with a 159 Satan number, 666 is at the back. Thoreau, I mean, if I were him, I would be coming down pit road very shortly. That way I got the fresh tires and I can catch up to you guys. Haven't seen much pits work in a while. We saw Seth Cole and Stephen Carter go down pit road before the last cycle ended. So they pitted twice in the same cycle. Which, I mean, is understandable here, because cycles last longer than they would on an oval track, say. Since on an oval track, you'll maybe see a pit cycle be within like 5 or 10 laps. Here, the pit cycle has been about 11 to 15 laps, maybe even longer. So you can understand that maybe some driver pitted near the end of the beginning of one would also pit near the end of the same segment, since it lasts about the length of a pit stop. Still running single file, everyone on track. Hasn't been much in the way of passing since McCurry got by his opponent. Watch out, watch out! Cresta drove in a little deep. Not going to get too much contact, but that was a close call for him. Don't want to mess it up now. Not when there's only 12 drivers left on track. So that'll give you a good position now, since we've had so many drivers pull out of the event. 25 drivers, as we mentioned, started the 24 Hours of Sebring. Now we're only down to 12, so we've eliminated about a little more than half the field. So the drivers that could stand the test. And I actually feel bad for a couple of drivers, especially Michael Aurelio. Because Michael Aurelio is a road racer by trade. He would have done so well here today, but they could not get that car going past the first two segments. They had a lot of struggles in that 28 machine for Enraged Performance Motorsports with a little help from the DHL Aurelio bunch. So Michael Aurelio gonna have to drive another series. At least he still has that DHL partnership. As Thoreau is still staying on track, second place is starting to catch up to him. That is Thomas Beattie. Also, I was hoping that John Blackburn could show what he knows. He's a local driver to the New York area. So he runs around there. Has some experience. So I'm thinking, what does he have experience in? I think he does, like, I forget what he does. He does a lot of small time stuff. But pal of Matt Evans, who was his teammate with that team. Matt Evans, who's also one of the best drivers that we've seen, especially in road courses. He's done really well over there. He had his struggles very early on. Also, Colin Bartel. In fact, the entire 81 team, I actually feel pretty bad for, since all three of them looked like they could have had something that they could win the race with. Bartel won at the Magville Bull Run. Matt Evans is a 7-time Utica Home Track Series winner. Plus, I think a 4-time Utica Rallycross Series winner. And John Blackburn, an experienced driver in his own trade. They could have done really well, but unfortunately not going to be able to even finish the race. And this has been actually a pretty bad year for Colin Bartel. He's struggling in a lot of things, especially Utica Home Track. I think he's only made one race in Utica Home Track Series. So it just compounds with this event. Still looking on track, Brandon Crafta is going to get by the 67 of Anthony McCrory. He's trying to pull away. We're still watching Dylan Thoreau because he's the driver that would be next on the chopping block for pit road. He stayed out for a long time. Gonna keep out for one more lap. So Beattie is right on his tail. So he's got to hold off Thomas Beattie to maybe slow him down, maybe cause some stacking up of these drivers. Now, when you have a pack of cars coming up against a slow car that's blocking, like Sayadino and Trost have been doing all day, you run the risk of there being some accidents. So if you're caught up in a wreck because Dylan Thoreau doesn't want to move out of the way, I think that can cause some conflict on the pit road after the event. But here comes the 83 of Beattie. He's going to make a dive bomb pass. Dylan Thoreau's not going to do anything about it. I think he knows that the 83 car is faster. He's going to show him a little bit of respect there and let him go. I think he's going to let Crafta go as well. Well, maybe not so easily since Crafta doesn't have it right away. But here he goes. Crafta with a great effort into the turn. And that will secure second place. So that means Thomas Beattie's out front in the 83 in the Racing for Diabetes machine. Alyssa Kirby had a great run in that car. Matt Dool kept the car alive. They did lose this car once, and in one segment, they were on pit road for the entirety of the event for, I think they had an electrical issue. A couple of these drivers had electrical issues that caused them to stay on pit road for almost the entire event, but they didn't pull out of the race. They got it fired back up right at the end of the segment, able to get it rolling for the next segment. But Brandon Crafta trying to give a challenge in that 77 machine. Not going to get it done just yet. Will Dylan Thoreau go down pit road? He will finally. So ironically, the short pit group is done after a long time. In fact, that short pit group is only 2 cars now. It's Seth Cole and Stephen Carter, though they've been on track for a while. Thomas Beatty out front. Brandon Crasta close behind. We've been racing for an hour and 39 minutes. And things have been going pretty swell for these drivers out front. They haven't had too much issue, the 83 and the 77. The 67 has also had a really good day so far. The only drivers that have really had struggles are Collard, Trost, and Thoreau. I'd say John Smith maybe had some problems as well. Carter had a mini problem, but I think he's overcome from that. Thoreau's actually going to cycle out back in the 12th place. Smith's ahead of him. Carter not gaining much ground on Collard, so I take that back about a mini problem. He's still having that issue. He's just not gaining any speed on these guys. Now we may see some more pit stops coming up soon, since it's been a while since we've seen cars go down pit road. Dylan Thoreau was the first in a long while. And it's now two drivers who have not had much time up near the front. Last time we saw Crasta, he was trying to work his way back up to the lead. Beatty, I forget if it was him that had the issue on pit road with the electrical issue, or if it was Matt Dool. I know one of them struggled. I think Alyssa Kirby was the one that may have had the pit road thing, and one of them actually did go out of the race, as we mentioned. They are in the backup machine. Also, let's take a look at the Florida drivers, if there's any in this race so far. I don't think so. I think Pericles might be from Florida, but I don't have a paper on that says it. But other than that, I mean, the car that had Eric and Rage, who was a Florida native, didn't perform so well. And the 14 that had Dylan Young in it, still on track, but Jason Trost with that car. So I think the 14 is the car that the fans would want to win, though Jason Trost has struggled. Seth Cole down pit road once again. Fine, Jason Trost. He's in 7th place at the moment. It's a little ways behind the leaders. Still has a chance to catch up, though. McCrory catching up to Brandon Crasta. We've gone 50 laps in this segment. An hour and 41 minutes has gone by. As these drivers approach the 2-hour mark. So we're about a little less than 20 minutes away from that. McCrory still making his effort on the 77, not going to work. Again, we've had a lot of single file racing in this latter half. Once Fedorino relinquished the lead, the passing kind of stopped. See this huge gap between everyone. I mean, this big straightaway has had these 6 on it. Trost is still a little ways behind Fedorino. So I don't know, at the current moment, I mean, if you go by who's out front now, I say the drivers I'm most confident with, McCrory I'm really confident with. I think Brandon Crasta could get it done as kind of an outside chance, but Voiles and Pericles are still there, they're lurking. And they are catching up ever so slightly, so you gotta watch out for the drivers in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Crasta, I said, may have a chance, but he's kind of the underdog victory, since it's not like Jackie Tang in the car, who has a lot of racing experience. It's Brandon Crasta, who has just some Truck Series runs. Also, Thomas Beatty, though he does have racing experience, this car's kind of an underdog machine. It'd be kind of a surprise if he was able to get the victory lane. But McCrory, 67 cars been running good all day. He's running up there right now. You also have these two drivers here that have been running very well. Fedorino could get back up there, make those predictions true. Trost, he's trying to impress the hometown crowd for Dylan Young. See if he can get Dylan Young in the victory lane. Dylan Young was actually the driver who put together this 14-car operation. Also got Tanner Sullivan on board with it. Both of them have their fair share of racing experience. Seth Cole, currently running at the very tail end of the field once again. Seems like he's either at the very back or the very front, but lately he's been near the very back, so he's got I think he should work on that pit strategy. I'm not sure if short pitting is going to be what's going to get him to victory lane. Thomas Beatty still putting up a great fight out front. Cresta has been unable to work out a way to pass. There's McCrory coming down pit road, so it'll be the first for this cycle of pit stops. Well, excuse me, the second, since Seth Cole has gone down pit road already. It just has been so long ago. Though it feels like it. So this will gain Jason Trost to position. Collard and Trost on that same strategy. Now they pitted lap 40. So we can expect him down pit road around lap 60-ish. If they're running a similar strategy. That could be what gets them back out to the front, but will it get them the win, though? There's Stephen Carter down pit road as well. I think they're going to try and see what's going on with this machine, as he has not had the speed he's had in the early running. It's a real shame for him, because he could have pulled off a victory with this segment, but things are just not going right for the 53. Thoreau still trying to catch up, but his last lap was kind of slow. I think he may have used up his tires already. Two-car breakaway. As since McCrory pitted, the 15 has not been able to catch up. Daniel Voiles still staying close behind the 15 car, not trying to make any risky passes just yet. Let's take a look at these drivers as we come toward pit road. Any takers? Nick Pericles is going to go down pit road. Get those fresh tires, be able to catch up. Trost will stay out. Collard, I think Smith is going to probably stay out as well. Smith is actually running some of the faster lap times on track with 1:59.626. They're still in Thoreau. Is Thoreau going to make a pit stop here or stay out a little longer? I think he will. Though, I mean, his times have not been reflecting. Never mind, a 1:58.955. I think he was just saving at that lap for some reason. Not exactly sure. But, taking a look back near the front. Beatty and Cresta still battling it out there. No change there. Cresta's been trying to find any way to get by Thomas Beatty, but just said he can't find a way underneath him. Beatty has been a strong race car today. The 83 car has been strong no matter what. Gotta see what happens when they head to pit road, though. Update you on the time. We've been racing for an hour and 48 minutes. So only 12 more minutes until we reach the 2-hour mark. And then it will be the home stretch, the final hour after that. It's an exceptional event so far, and I just want to take the time again to thank all those who have helped with the broadcast. For those who have not seen any of the other parts of this, and have only seen the stuff on the YouTube Home Check Series channel, I suggest checking that out in the playlist in the description. And take a look at this. Thomas Beatty's going to head down pit road. Brandon Cresta going to be back out front in car number 77. Boyle follows, followed by Citadino. What is Jason Tross gonna do? '14 car will stay on track as expected. Now we're expecting the 14 car to go to at least laps 58. Assuming he can go as far as lap 60 or 61. Then he'll have to try and make that home stretch. If he can make one more long run that's like 20 or 21 laps, he may be in a good spot near the finish. That should bring him to about lap 81. That's if he pits on lap 60. So can Jason Tross stretch his fuel mileage? Can Joshua College do the same thing? John Smith starting to kick back up on track. So Brandon Krasta is actually all by himself out front in car number 77. He's got no one near him. He's running lap times that are 2 minutes and 3 seconds, about. At least that's what his last lap was. He honestly doesn't need the pit this next lap. He could probably stay out one more lap, but I'm not sure. Maybe he should go down pit road so he can minimize the expense of going down pit road in terms of track position. He's got an entire straightaway ahead of the second place car. What's he gonna do? He's actually gonna pit now. This actually might be pretty good for Brandon Krasta since Trost and Collard are gonna be like going to that beat him. John Smith might beat him as well, but he should still be close to the front of the pack. This could be a maneuver that puts the 77 car in victory lane for the second time in this event. So there comes Jason Trost. Trost with the pass. He loses it to Collard. Smith, he's going to lose it to Thoreau as well. McCrory's going to make it by. There comes Pericles. He's actually going to lose quite a little bit. You might pull in right behind the 83. So here comes Daniel Voiles. Krasta ahead of Voiles, so Thomas Beatty was leading going into the pit cycle. It's presumed he will be leading when we round it out. Jason Trost back out in front. 5 laps to the estimated time of his next pit stop. Though we're not sure. Trost has been pushing it these past couple of laps. Using up fuel, using up tires. If he pits a little early, it'll be about lap 79. It would be his next projected pit stop. And that may be a little too early. I think the ideal time that you want to be making your last pit stop is maybe around lap 84, since that'll give you 6 laps to catch back up and allow the other drivers to head down pit road. That could cycle you back out into the front. Probably that area between lap 81 and 84 would be the best to come down pit lane. Trost in the lead. Is he going to pit yet? I don't believe so. So Trost will lead the lap. Collard and Smith staying out. I believe everyone else has gone down pit road at some point during this cycle, except for Trost, Collard, Smith, and I think Thoreau is still running from his last segment. He was the last car to pit in the last cycle of pit stops. Hope that we can get this all sorted out before we get to the 2-hour mark and we head to a commercial. There's out front. John Smith still trying to make a pass on the 7. He's not had it though. Dylan Thoreau has actually caught up to this pack of 2. Jason Trost out front there, but you can see them coming ever closer. Stephen Carter currently in 12th on track. That's not where he wants to be. I don't think he's gaining too much. Seth Cole he's gaining a little bit on Seth Cole, but he's not making up enough of a gap yet to make it worth his while. Now, the last time they went down pit road, Trost and Collar went for the 18-lap setup. That would probably bring them to about around here. So, it's probably the earliest we'll see them come down pit road if they decide to. Which they will not. They'll stay out to lap 57. John Smith is going to make it by Joshua Collard finally. I think Dylan Thoreau may give a shot at him as well. I think with the way that this 7 car has been running and the way these cars have been cycling through, I don't think car number 7 is going to be ending up in victory lane, but he can still surprise us. I mean, Joshua Michaels went to victory lane here on a road course. That was already a big enough surprise for us. But, no other takers for pit road. Basically 3 drivers who have yet to do so. Whoa, no, whoa! Dylan Thoreau makes some contact with a 7. That is not a good sign. You never want to do that. The last driver, every driver who's done that has either gone out of the race or had some issue afterward with like a height issue, like Colin Bartel, who was running a little high in that 81 machine. Let's hope that both Thoreau and Collard unaffected by that contact. We are closing in on the mark for 2 hours. If you look down there, if it hits that, we have been racing for 1 hour and 57 minutes. So it says 2:02 on there, and that's because it's counting the pre-race time. Just for those who are tuning in. Trost keeps it out on track. Smith's trying to catch up. Thoreau, I think probably the fastest of those front runners. Actually, no. John Smith ran a quicker lap time that lap. Smith and Thoreau have been a bit of the rivalry. On track as Smith made contact with Thoreau early on, caused him to spin out. Thoreau has bounced back though, worked his way back to the front. And Collard has decided to stay on the racetrack still, though he is losing ground. It is lap 58. So the chances of them pitting are even higher. We don't expect him to pit any later than lap 60, however. That would be a very heavy load, especially if they went for the 25 laps, because that would be insane. You have to have a pretty huge race lead to try and stretch it to 25 laps. Seeing as that's about a little under a third of the race. At least of the segment. the drivers are catching ever closer to car number 14. So a little bit to go before we hit the hour mark and before some of these drivers head down pit road. Trost pulled this last time, was able to keep the lead for a while. But it looks like he's going to pit right now. And so will John Smith. And Joshua Collard. So, pit stops will cycle out. They all head down the pit lane. Dylan Thoreau is your race leader. So let's go through the field very quickly while the other drivers attempt to make their pit stops. Dylan Thoreau is your race leader in car number 12. Close behind, however, running 2 seconds faster, Anthony McCrory in the 67. They're followed by Nick Pericles, who's running faster than both of them. Then a little ways back is Thomas Beattie in the 83 machine. Rounding out your top 5 is Brandon Crasta. John Ciadino in 6th place, followed by 7th place, Daniel Voiles. 8th is Seth Cole. 9th is Stephen Carter, followed by 10th place, Jason Trost. 11th place is John Smith. And in 12th place is Joshua Collard, who's actually still on pit road. I think they're trying to fix something on that, so that's going to cost me even more time. They'll be done for today. Anthony McCurry makes it around. Dylan Thoreau. Here comes Nick Pericles trying to make the battle for it. We would normally be going to commercial, but we got a battle on track here, and it's heating up. Will Pericles be able to make the pass? Looks like Thoreau has kept the position. Curry still holding it out front. Well, we have reached the 2-hour mark as Nick Pericles making the pass underneath, going through the turn. These guys just don't want me to go to commercial. Things are heating up. It's 1 hour to go. And there is Pericles. Takes the spot. Your top 3 is McCrory, Pericles, and Thoreau. We'll be back after 3 minutes as we take what will hopefully be our last commercial break of the 24 Hours of Sebring. 1 hour to go. Let's see who can make the final run and get to victory lane. Hello and welcome back for the final hour of the 24 Hours of Sebring. Anthony McCrory is your race leader, but close on his tail, that's Nick Pericles in car number 15. Trying to pull off a victory with that Hartlepool team, the Team Yoshi. Number 15, sharing that ride with Sean Galligan and Avis Rapax. But there's Anthony McCrory out front. Had a great run this segment. Now, as opposed to Daniel Voiles, who, though he's been running well, has kind of dropped off since the initial start, McCrory has been fast throughout the segment. Pericles has also been a quick race car. Then we have this stack up of Thoreau, Crasta, and Beattie. Then we got Ciadino, Voiles, Seth Cole, who's a little ways off the pace, Carter, Smith, Trost, and Collard. Collard is currently in last place of the cars on track. One driver started this segment and is pulled out. That's Luis Hernandez in car number 3. Unfortunately, not going to be able to finish all 24 hours of the event. Now, if you think about it, the 3 cars that have actually not gone to their backup car, that means that they have run every lap of this event. Unless they fell a lap down, which we'll have to go back to the scoring things to calculate. But we are giving a bonus to drivers that can run every lap in the 24-hour event. Only 3 drivers are eligible for that at the moment. That's the 53, the 77, and the 12. As those cars have been on track for the entire duration of the event. They have not had to go to a backup car. However, actually, I think the 77 car might be eliminated from that car. I know for a fact he finished one of them off the lead lap. 53 car might be too. So if the 12 car, I think the 12 car has the best chance of completing every lap here today. Speaking of, look at this stack up of cars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Behind Dylan Thoreau, who's not the quickest. There is Brandon Crasta going underneath. Thomas Beatty trying to follow. John Cittadino's up there. He's trying to see if he can wedge his way underneath as well. Cittadino's going to get kicked to the outside a little bit. Not going to work there. Crasta gets by. Beatty trying to make it past, but he's not in the preferred line. He does have some drafting help from Cittadino. He does it. Cittadino's going to get the door shut on him. As now they set their sights on the leaders. Cittadino's got to get him in one of the passing zones. Hairpin would be a good place to try and make the pass if he can just get to the inside. They're all running a 2:02 at the moment. Got some 2:01s and 1:59s running nearby him. Cittadino not going to get to the inside of car number 12, but he still has time. Though it's starting to run out, we have less than an hour left in this segment. Just a quick update on to let you know the rules going toward the end of the segment. Now when we hit the 3-hour mark, the race doesn't end immediately. They have to finish whatever lap they're on. So that is what will decide the race. For example, say if a driver runs out of time just a couple feet before the line, then when they cross the line, that's when it counts. But if they make it past that line, then they have to finish that lap. It all depends. McCurry's starting to pull car lengths out on Pericles. Look back here. Cittadino's still not able to get by Dylan Thoreau. Daniel Boyle is actually losing a little bit of ground on him, Seth Cole, and John Smith a little further back. I think these 5 drivers near the back here, these guys might be done for today. I don't think they're going to be able to catch up for long enough to keep in contention. I think we're going to be seeing someone up in the front group take the victory. I mean, I can be proven wrong by those back markers, but I think Joshua Collard especially, because he is way off the pace of the rest of the field. He's not running close to anybody. I think they're going to need a little more effort if they want to get a good finish today. Best chance to win today would be up near this pack. McCurry and Pericles, I think, have the biggest shots at winning it. They are currently up front at the moment, and their pit strategy has been keeping them close to the front throughout the entire event. Cresta and Beatty have been improving throughout the event, though. They've been kind of the pairing throughout this event. They're always running near each other. They could be in line for the win. Cittadino, who's been on a very wacky pit strategy. He hasn't really conformed to any of the rules of either the long or short pit. Thoreau has been up front a lot today. He could have a good shot at it. Daniel Voiles hasn't been up front lately, but pit strategy can change things. Pass on Seth Cole made by John Smith. This is going to take him, but runs it a little wide. That turn is a very difficult turn since you do not have a straightaway. Immediately after that turn, it goes directly into another turn. So, makes it a little hard on these guys to get that car evened out. John Cittadino is going to get by Dylan Thoreau. Now it's Daniel Voiles trying to make the pass. Cittadino is running similar lap times to these guys up here, so he could catch up. Could be Cittadino's day to win. Cittadino already a winner in 2014 in the Yokohama Track Series. He's won at Bristol, which is a complete opposite track to this one. Not seen too much success anywhere else, I don't believe. He has won at Thornton in the NSCRA, and that is a very difficult racetrack. I'm considering that much harder than Sebring, so if he can win there, he can maybe win on this segment. I think lately, what's that track been dominated by in NSCRA? I think Harrison Langford's been like on point over there. James McLeod, who also was not in this event, has also had some great finishes on that track, especially in the trucks. Man, James McLeod, I remember a while ago, he was on a roll in the truck series. But look at this, a path for the lead. Pericles looking low. Can he get back out front? Pericles at one point was leading the most laps today. He lost that honor to Dylan Thoreau. Can he take it back? Well, what we can presume is about 25 more laps of racing. That's usually what we run to about. Pericles is going to take the lead at the 2-minute 12 mark. Almost slides into the wall. McCrory not giving up. But Nick Pericles on that inside line. Pericles gets it. A little further back are Carter, Tross, Cole. They're not running especially quick. I don't think they're catching these front runners. Especially not Collard, who's been running a 2:03 this past lap. Anthony McCurry's going to pit. I think a bit of a short pit strategy or a medium pit. But whatever. Car number 67 coming down pit road. Nick Pericles, followed by Brandon Crasta. Wouldn't it be something if Crasta goes to victory lane here today? We mentioned before the 77 car started on the pole. Be amazing if they could both start on pole and end up on point. There's Thomas Beatty sitting in the 3rd place position with a great effort in the 83. John Citadino moves up the 4th now. This puts Dylan Thoreau in the top 5. Any other takers for pit road? Stephen Carter is going to head down pit lane. I think they decided just, let's get us full of fuel. Though I'm not sure if that's a good idea on McCurry's part especially. I think he's going to need a pit again. Unless he short pits it. If he goes for a long pit stop, he'll be pitting with a couple laps to go. I don't think that will be enough time to properly catch him up. As he navigates the back markers, Stephen Carter gets off the pit lane. Here comes Brandon Crasta, giving him quite a challenge. Pericles trying to fend him off. And now Beatty, hoping to come from behind. Citadino right there in 4th. And Daniel Voiles has moved into the 5th place position, ahead of Dylan Thoreau. So chalk him up to the top 5. Thoreau's been staying on track for a while. I'm assuming this is for a strategic purpose. But I'm not sure, it might be backfiring on him. Brandon Crasta heads down pit lane. Now this will either be their... Coming up in these next couple laps, this will either be their last pit stop or they'll need to pit one more time. We're cutting it close here. 67 is the lap number. This will probably bring him to about lap 87, which is with 3 to go. At least assumed, because we tend to run to about lap 90 here. Daniel Voiles on pit road as well. That's not a guarantee we'll run to lap 90. We had some end at the lap 88 or 89 mark. We may even go to the lap 91 mark. It can happen. It just depends how quick the race pace is. That depends on how early we end. Normally, though, we've been going off at lap 90. So Pericles was challenged for a bit, but things have cleared up for him. Thomas Beatty moves into the 2nd place position. At the current moment, John Citadino will round out the podium. But the race is not over yet. Dylan Thoreau. Well, Dylan Thoreau still needs to come down pit road. He sits 4th right now. John Smith is going to move up to 5th place. So all these pit stops. So could have something if these top guys pit within the next couple of laps. Anthony McCurry and Brendan Crest are already going to get by these back markers. So Trost, Cole, I don't think they'll have anything for these front runners. Collard either. And especially Carter. Things have gone way south for that 53 Charborough machine. The Charborough car's day is going to go up in smoke. But Pericles, a huge lead over Thomas Beatty. Beatty is a little quicker, but he's going to take a couple of laps for him to catch up to him. Gotta check if Dylan Thoreau's going to come down pit road anytime soon. I think I would be calling him down, because this is starting to get ridiculous. And yes, they make the smart move. They pit. So Smith, I'm assuming, is going to be staying out a little longer. He's still running some quick lap times, unless he's got a strategy move to be doing. And Daniel Voiles is worrying me here, as he's only running slightly faster than the 7 of Joshua Collard, despite getting new tires. So I'm not sure what's going on there. You might be in conservation mode to see if he can make it to the end. But let's hope that's the case, because if he's running about the same pace as the 7 machine, then he is in trouble, since Joshua Collard has not been considered one of the fastest cars on track ever since he lost the pole. So Pericles, Beatty, sitting up front. Not much change up there, with the exception that now Anthony McCreary is in 5th place. So maybe this wasn't too bad. I mean, we don't have as many drivers on track, so there's less cars to pass to get to the front. If we had all 25 here, McCreary would have a little bit of work on his hands. Looking at the clock, 2 hours, 19 minutes in. Closing on 40 minutes to go. This is where these drivers need to keep calm, because this is where the pressure starts setting in. Because you know that you don't have many opportunities left to work your way to the front. So if you're stuck near the back of the pack, like Stephen Carter is here, you may just have to run with it. And I don't see him heading to the front anytime soon. See if there's any pit road takers. None in the top 3. All running close to each other. John Cedino starting to gain some ground on Thomas Beatty. Beatty and Pericles running similar lap times, so not much gain there. Cedino is a second faster than both of them. He just needs to be able to circumnavigate both cars, and he could see himself in the race lead. Smith is going to stay out. McCreary should be staying out since he just went down the pit lane. Here comes Krasta. He's all pitted up. Trost still needs to come down pit road, but he's newer tires, so he doesn't need to worry as much. Seth Cole's going to pit. And I think... Okay, well that'll get him to about lap 88, so I assume we'll see one more pit stop out of Seth Cole. Not much action on the racetrack in terms of battles. The closest jockey for positions would probably be Cedino trying to catch Thomas Beatty. But other than that, I don't see much going on here. That's what happens when you get these guys kind of filed out. Not much in the way of passing. It's more of a game of survival. Because some of these drivers don't want to use it up too quickly because they don't want to pit too early. But you also don't want to pit too late. Unless you're going for the long haul like Dan Bandon did in segment 1. Which very risky maneuver. I don't think, if I were Nick Pericles, I wouldn't try the Dan Bandon method at this point in time, since Thomas Beatty is so close. Dan Bandon had a very unique scenario where he had a huge lead. He was leading by about a straightaway. So he didn't need to worry about him catching him that quickly. I mean, Sullivan did put it into turbo mode to try and catch him, but just came up ever so short. Shame for the team, as looks like they may not be in contention to win this race. Trost is a little further back, and his pit cycle's been kind of weird, but given the Trost pit cycle, he does not need to pit again. Let's see, for some reason decides to short pit. But Trost and Collard have been making it the habit of theirs to stay out as long as physically possible. It's been a while since their last pit stop, and they're still running some decent lap times. So actually, Trost may have a shot at this, since the leaders are all using up the tires, especially McCrory, who's been running very fast laps. He's also already pitted. McCrory will most likely need to pit again. I assume Smith will need to pit again. Citadino, Beatty, and Pericles all will need to come down pit road one more time. Maybe even 2 more times if they don't play it right. But Jason Trost, he just needs to come down pit road, and he can work from there. Now, I don't think he'll be pitting anytime soon. He may come in maybe in the late lap 70s. But he's still got a couple of good laps out of these tires. And the fuel should last him for now. Citadino tries another pass at the 83, but it's not going to work. Pericles out front. Very dominant run by the 15. He lost it near the middle of this race, but the beginning and the end seemed to be Nick Pericles' show. It's all a matter if he can finish it up. Now, I remember some of these segments that were under the lights. And that was very difficult for these drivers, because you're running in these DW12 Dollar cars. These cars go pretty fast. And given the lack of lights around this track, you only had it in very select places, so very difficult to maneuver your way around. The spotters were key in telling you where everything is and making sure you know who you were getting by. But luckily we're under daylight, so we don't have that factor plaguing these drivers in the late sessions of this 24-hour race. No cars on the pit lane. And overall, a pretty clean event. We've only had 3 incidents. Jason Trost and Dylan Thoreau both went around. And also, but they escaped without harm. Also, there was the Luis Hernandez wreck that took him out of the race. Seth Cole is currently the last car on track. He's been in that position a lot. Stephen Carter is also back there. They're basically done. Dylan Thoreau may have a shot at... actually, I think Dylan Thoreau... Well, yeah, he went down pit road, of course. Dylan Thoreau is going to be a long shot. He's got to work his way back up 9 more positions. But this feels heavily spread out. Joshua Collard does not have the car that I think can win today. There's Daniel Voiles. He may have a shot at it. Trost, if pit strategy goes in his favor. Crasta's been pretty fast today, and he's been giving these leaders a run for their money. McCrory has caught up to John Smith. He's on some passing. Look at that. Some cars on pit road. This puts John Citadino in the race lead. So Pericles and Beatty going to service their cars on lap 72. That means they got 18 laps to the stripe. Now they're going to have to stay out for a while. That's cutting it close with them, because some of them will start losing their tire wear at around that point. Stretching is about 21 to 25 laps. The recommended pit time is probably about 17 or 18 laps, and maybe 19 as well. So they're going to have to see there. So John Citadino back out front. He will go down pit road, though, because that lap time is not as quick as it was. He'll have to make one more stop and maybe make it to the end of this race. Now, the reason Trost may have a good strategy going here is that when he pits, it's going to be much later in the event. He'll probably have the freshest tires on track, so he'll be able to catch up to everyone unless he pits early. So Trost has his agenda. Could have a shot at it. Citadino has a huge lead over the rest of them. I would pit now if I were him, since he doesn't have as much to lose. A little slow here. Is he going to make his way down pit road? Citadino's been kind of cocky this race. He's going to pit this lap. So now John Smith and Anthony McCrory will get by him. But since John Citadino had such a huge lead, he won't fall as far back in the running. Smith will be your leader. Citadino working his way down pit road toward his designated pit stall. That's the 35. So he pits. He's going to get service done. So passing him will be Smith, McCrory, Crasta. Here comes Trost and Voiles. Wait, did Trost pass Voiles? I think he might have. That puts Trost in a good position. It's going to be 4th place for Trost. Voiles went out the top 5. There's Beatty. Citadino back on track, but he's going to fall in the place behind Dylan Thoreau. Not the quickest pit stop by the Citadino team. That might hurt them. Here we go, Brandon Crasta. He's trying to make his move. Passing the 67 on the inside. He's got the good line. John Smith out front, though. Can he get his second win of the segment? It would be one thing if the 21 car went to victory lane twice. But if he was able to be responsible for both wins of the 21 car, then I know that they picked a good secondary driver. Here we go, the 77. Still trying to make that pass. I don't think he'll do it. As the 67 car has the preferred line, he's going to pull out to the lead there. But great effort by Crasta. McCrory. Still on the back bumper of John Smith. Just trying to check to see if anyone else made a trip down pit road. They did not. Can McCrory take the inside? Not quite yet. We are about 2.5 hours into the segment. We got a half hour to go. This is going to be some exciting stuff, folks. As after 23.5 hours, we're in our final stretch. And when this is over, someone will have won the biggest race we've ever run, and will be the king or queen. And we do have some female drivers that can technically be on that podium of the 24-hour event, and that will be quite the honor for these drivers. Smith still holding on. Crasta, really good going into the hairpin. That's how he's able to get to the inside of McCrory these times, but I don't think it was good enough for this lap. Checking through the field, no other cars going down pit road. We haven't even seen an incident in a while, because these cars have been so spread apart. McCrory. This is the go time. This is where you need to get that position. Every spot counts. We head toward the end of this event and get those final pit stops and then make our run to the finish. Trost is still in 4th place. Now we keep mentioning Trost because he is on such an odd pit strategy that it actually might work. And unlike Joshua Collard, he's in a position where he can benefit greatly from it. However, those two cars behind him, Voiles and Beatty, a lot faster. As you see Beatty making the pass underneath of Voiles. Is he going to try and go 2 for 1? No, but hey, a great effort by Beatty. diving pass to the inside of Voiles. I think he'll get the spot. Beatty, I think, trying to go for Trost now, but I'm not sure how well the outside lane will work. He's got a little bit of a draft from Voiles. I think Voiles is even sick of drivers being stuck behind the 14. So Beatty will take the spot, take 4th place away. Trost goes back to 5th. And now, the 11 of Voiles is going to make an attempt. There comes Nick Pericles. 7th place. But as he picks another driver off, that could mean one more spot closer to victory. Whoa, what happened to John Smith? John Smith, I think, got passed by both of them. Just take a look at him. About a lap ago, he was in the lead, but now dropped down the 3rd and he's losing ground. I think finally he ate up those tires as he ran a pretty slow lap that time. So it's McCurry out front, Crasta in 2nd. Smith is starting to fall back. Take a look at the rest of this field now. We keep mentioning who we think is not going to be a part of the final battle for the win. Seth Colesbin did not win on that short pit strategy. Steven Carter had some problems today. Joshua Collard as well. So I think those guys are all out of contention for this. So I think the top 9 all have a shot at it. John Ciadino, he may be starting to lose his chance since he's quick, but he's not gaining quick enough. Ciadino's been benefiting because he has been caught out front while everyone else is on pit road. So unless he can get that at the very tail end of the race, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to muscle past everyone. Speaking of muscling past drivers, Nick Pericles trying to make the pass on Daniel Voiles as well. Voiles is just stuck behind this 14. He just can't figure out a way to get by that both Beatty and Pericles were able to maneuver with. Here we go. I think Voiles is also going to go to the outside line, see if he can maybe follow with it. Nope. And now Pericles is just going to gun away from car number 14. It's the same out front, McCrory and Crasta. Nothing's changed there. Running about the same pace away from each other. There's John Smith, still losing ground. Still staying on track. Beatty is fast. Ran a time that rivals his best lap. Nick Pericles also running a successful effort. Look at this stack up of cars as might pass Daniel Voiles away. Voiles has been struggling with this 14. But here we go. The 11 finally gets that opportunity. He's going to work his way past Jason Trost. There's Dylan Thoreau and John Ciadino. They need to make it by him as well. Time is running out. Trost will need to pit, but the issue with him now, since he's dropping so far behind, will he have enough time to catch back up with this strategy? He's got to pit soon. Collard is probably going to be pitting soon as well, since he's been caught up to by the 53. McCurry crosses the line, followed by Crasta. John Smith makes his final pit stop of the day. And I think John Smith pitted the same time as a couple other. I forget if he actually pitted the same time as Trost. Trost is going to make his final pit stop. Now we gotta see about Collard. Collard is looking low, and he pits as well. That's the last time he'll need to come down. But Trost's plan could have been hijacked by John Smith, since John Smith is ahead of him and on the same strategy. And plus, John Smith had a lot of ground on that 14, so maybe we can forget about Trost and maybe mention Smith as a potential winner if the rest of these guys need to come down pit road one more time. Look at the front. McCurry's still got good tires, but he's got to last for 13 more laps. Krasta, 2-minute lap time. That means his tires have worn slightly. He's going to definitely need a pit. Thomas Beatty's been running some very fast lap times. I'm assuming he will have to come down pit road one more time, but I'm actually pretty surprised at how Beatty's been conserving his tires. Pericles is fast. Pericles was holding back a little bit. Now he's starting to gun it so he can catch back up to these leaders. Daniel Voiles, I'm assuming he'll come down pit road one more time. Same for Thoreau and Ciudadino. That's just a remnant of being stuck behind Jason Tross. We'll have to kind of see what their lap times are when they cross the line. So, looking at our clock, 2 hours and 38 minutes down. 22 minutes to go. What a spectacle we have been witnessing for the past 24 hours. That's 25 drivers tackle one of the longest, scratch that, the longest event we have ever had. But finally, we head toward the final stages of it. Closing in on 20 minutes to go. Which, for you and me, may seem like a short while, but for these drivers, it'll seem like an eternity. As they strive to catch back up to the race lead. Make sure all their strategy works, and make sure nothing goes wrong. John Ciudadino! Ciudadino! With a very violent hairpin turn, but it's going to do wonders for him, as he's got a good run on the 11. He is not giving the 11 an inch. Neither is Voiles, since he's been throwing the block. John loses a little bit of ground, overdriving that turn. But a great effort by Ciudadino. Also by Voiles for keeping him behind him. So John Smith's trying to catch back up to the field. Same with Jason Tross. Joshua Collett as well. But he's quite a ways behind everyone. I know it sounds like a cliche thing, but even if these drivers don't go to victory lane today, we'll have to say everyone here is a winner for just surviving this long. Being able to pilot their machine through this entire event. Especially the 53, 77, and 12. Since they have not wrecked their cars at all during the event. The only issue they've had is maybe some spins and going a lap down. Dylan Thoreau in the 12 and the rest of his team with Connor Vale and PJ Williams are probably the most impressive team I've seen, since they not only have run every segment without problem, but they've ran practically every lap without problem. So what a great team that they've put together. They're going to be very happy with the result of this one, no matter where they finish. See if we can find any battles on track. Beatty's still gunning it, so is Pericles. John Ciudadino is going to get by Daniel Voiles. He's got some fast lap times going. Now the issue with Ciudadino, Pericles, and Beatty is that I'm not sure how long they're going to be able to last, because they got to last 11 laps at the very least on these tires. They've already been going for a couple laps so far, so that's kind of stretching it. We think that they may need the pit. And that could kill their finishing position that they're currently striving so hard to obtain. McCurry and Krasta starting to lose that gap that they had over Beatty. Both of them pitted around the same time, I think about a lap apart. Now they pitted relatively early too. They may need to come down one more time. Yeah, I think they will. Since they're running 2-minute lap times right now, and about 5 laps they're going to be even slower. So I think Krasta and McCurry are, we might need to put the nail in the coffin on them. They may not be able to make it to the end, given their runs. BD might. Same with Pericles and Citadino, but that's going to be a stretch for those guys. Voiles, I think, might need to pit again, but if he pits, he might be able to get it early enough. Thoreau, I think, needs to pit again. Carter. But not John Smith. I think John Smith might have a chance at it. As now he tries to work his way around Seth Cole. There's going to be a battle for 9th if he can catch up. So going back to the Smith and Cole battle. This is a close battle. Now this is not for a major position, but this will help John Smith greatly, as it's one less car he needs to get around, and he can start rocketing away from the 13. Because the next car in line ahead of those two is Stephen Carter. You'll have to catch him too. He's not like there's a huge gap between them, but any little bit will help. 21, Jason Trost also hoping maybe luck will shine his way. Collar needs a lot of luck. As McCrory still out front. Lap 80. And they keep it going. Getting kind of risky as here comes Beatty. What happened to Pericles? Pericles is right there. He is still a while off. Ah, here goes the pass, and whoa! John Smith's not going to give Seth Cole any room, runs him right off the track. Smith has been very aggressive in this event. But Smith not going to wreck the 13, so that is a plus. At least he didn't do what he did to Dylan Thoreau and dump him off the racetrack, but Smith gets by. He has a fast race car. Now he's got to catch Stephen Carter and get by him as quickly as he can. Remember, they're about half the racetrack away from leader Anthony McCreary. But that can be made up since they are faster than the leaders. And plus, if they need the pit, that takes about a quarter of a lap. Distance, maybe even half a lap. Since it is a very long back straightaway and a long front straightaway. And here comes Beatty, knocking on the door. Amazing effort for this team. He's trying to work his way past Krasta. He's inching, but I think he's deciding against it. He doesn't think he has the momentum. Make the pass, inching. Up, he decides it. He's going for it. And the 83 car zooms past him. A great slingshot move by the books. So move Beatty up to second place. Lap 82. We have less than 15 minutes left in this segment. 15 minutes left in the 24-hour event. Pericles is still in fourth. He's still trying to gain some ground. But I think he used up his tires a bit. Here comes Beatty riding on the bumper of McCrory, not letting him get any leeway. This is going to be a good battle. Some of these drivers are waiting for McCreary and Krasta to the pit. Not Beatty. Beatty's going to storm into the lead in the hairpin turn. And he's going to try and run away with it. Get as much ground as he can on Nick Pericles. So if he does need to make a late pit stop, he'll have something on Pericles. The 83 machine in the lead. The 15's not done yet. Pericles is starting to catch back up. Citadino. He's trying to get up there. Boyles and Thoreau have lost him a little bit. I'm not sure if they have what it takes to get them. Not only has John Smith gotten by Carter, Seth Cole is trying to go after Stephen Carter. And to no avail. Looks like Carter's going to hold him off, but Carter is definitely not at his prime. Trost, I don't think he's at his prime either. He hasn't been able to catch up to these guys. So I think Trost is done. Collard's done. I'm going to put the nail in the coffin in Cole and Carter. Smith is a long shot at this moment. But he still has a chance. He just needs to gain some speed. Thoreau and Voiles both need the pit. I think they're done. No cars pit this lap, so I think, most realistically, you're going to see Beatty, Pericles, Citadino, or Smith in victory lane. That's who it's looking like right now. I think those drivers have done well with their strategy. Pericles and... Pericles and Beatty have been doing mid-pitting. Citadino has been all over the place with his pit stops. And John Smith switched over to the long pit. So we've got 3 different strategies for 4 different drivers. All depends on who's going to get it. 11 minutes left in the segment. No drivers have gone down pit road just yet. We'll have to see when they cross the line. I'm expecting McCrory and Crasta to go down pit road. They've been using up those tires. I don't think it would be wise for them to stay out, try and stretch it. They will probably run out. Beatty, a huge gap over the rest of the field. Especially over what is assumed to be his closest competitor. It will be Nick Pericles, who's in 4th. That's the gap. So Beatty leading the field on that lap. McCrory comes down, but Crasta's going to stay out. Now we have to see how this will affect McCrory's strategy. Will he be able to catch up? Now, McCrory and Crasta, though I've been saying that they're kind of out of it, they're technically not fully out of it, since Beatty and Pericles and Citadino might need to pit one more time. It's not guaranteed they'll make it to the end. They have to make it 6 laps, but their times are starting to get a little slower. They've been racing them pretty hard. Look at that clock now. 2 hours, 51 minutes of this race have been run. We have 9 minutes left to go. McCrory back on track. He's going to pull in front of Seth Cole. That's not bad. Stephen Carter pitting one more time. See if they can fix some damage on that. He's been running some pretty slow lap times. Carter is not going to get a good finish today. Here will Collard, Trost, or Cole. So if you're ahead of Seth Cole right now, that's a good sign. Not to put Seth Cole down. He's a great race car driver, but I don't think he's got it today. A lot of open path in front of Anthony McCrory for him to gain some ground. The next driver on track is John Smith, who's got a long ways to get to Dylan Thoreau. Well, it's not too long. It's relatively long. But, back up there. Thomas Beatty. See if this lap time slows down any. Thomas Beatty's going to go and pit. So Beatty is He's not confident in his fuel strategy. This will give Nick Pericles the race lead, so Beatty deciding to come down pit road. He's not going to stretch the fuel. So it's a 3-car battle out front. Krasta is probably going to need a pit. Nick Pericles is going to try and stretch it. So will John Cittadino. Voiles pits. I think he's decided that his strategy is not going to go anywhere. He's just going to pit, finish the race, see if he can maybe pick off some drivers that run out of fuel. You know, this helps. McCurry and Smith. Exactly what they wanted to see. Cars coming down pit road. Though McCurry is actually going to get caught behind Thomas Beatty. So that maybe will not be the best thing for him. But Smith is going to get a good run here. He's running a 1:59.535. That's a very fast lap time. Just needs to hope that he doesn't run out of time. Nick Pericles, been the dominant car of this segment. It's his race to lose. He just needs to finish these remaining 7 minutes. Will the fuel and tires last for Nick Pericles? He had been pushing it very hard. Cittadino's been also been giving it quite of a run. And then there's Brandon Krasta as well. 4th place is Dylan Thoreau. He's a little further back, but his lap times and his time-up times are a little slow. So I don't think he's got anything for these front guys. What's 15 going to do? He's going to stay out. John Cittadino makes the pass to the inside, but he's also going to come down pit road. So will Brandon Krasta. Both of them are not confident in that they can make it to the end on fuel. I think John Cittadino's crew chief has done the strategy. They cannot make it as they run double file down pit road. You gotta be careful going on pit road double file. Joshua Michaels knows all too well as he wrecked his car there in the first segment. Dylan Thoreau gonna make the trip down pit road. So John Smith. This is what he wanted to see. The only car ahead of him now is the 15 of Pericles. Pericles needs to survive 5 minutes. Only 5 minutes until the 24 hours of Sebring is over. And Nick Pericles can get his team the victory. But John Smith, there he is, lurking, but he's been out on track for a while. It's basically a 2-car race at the moment. There's Beatty in 3rd place, however. If something happens to the top 2, Beatty is there to swoop it up. McCreary is also closing in. And look at that, Jason Trost in the top 5. He's got a fast car underneath him. Take a look a little further back. Dylan Thoreau not going to get the finish he wanted. He's going to fall pretty far behind. Krasta Cittadino, they drop back behind Seth Cole. McCreary is a little off track. Pericles. Gotta keep watching out for him when he comes to the pit lane section. He's still alive. He's still driving. It's only about 4 minutes to go. Now remember, if depending on when they cross the line, that can change the amount of time left on the clock, because there could be 6 to 7 minutes left on the clock if they finish the race soon. They could add an entire up to 2 minutes to their times. They have to run for the Sebring race. Technically, with the bonus time that we've run in the extra segment, this will actually be a little longer than 24 hours. What the exact time is, I don't know. We don't have our mathematicians on hand for it. But we have gone a couple minutes technically over the 24-hour event. Seth Cole pitting for the final time. Looks like his short pitting strategy left him short, as he's going to pit with only 3 minutes left in the race. That is going to be a shame for Seth Cole, who started off so well, but he just got burnt by his own strategy. Stephen Carter at least is going to gain a position off of it. So there's John Smith. He actually has quite a distance behind the 15. Pericles is actually a full section of the race course ahead of John Smith, so that's looking good for Pericles if he needs to pit on the last lap and do a Dan Bandon move. Thomas Beattie is here too. Pericles. 2 minutes on the clock. Can he make it? He crosses the line. Now, will this lap be the final lap, or will we go to another? We are on the short side of time. It takes 2 minutes to get around here. We've got about 2 minutes left. Now, will he take it easy? Or is he going to try and get to the end there? Because remember, the time he crossed the line could mean everything. Looking back at John Smith. He's still in the position belt. Wait a second. Thomas Beattie is catching up. 2 seconds faster than the 21. John Smith does not want to see that. I keep referring to him as Logan York. He is the primary driver, but still, John Smith doesn't want to lose it here. Nick Pericles in the lead. He's got about a minute, a little over a minute, before this race ends up. But will he cross the line in time? Or will the time end before he crosses the line and give him that victory? So Nick Pericles. I believe he was actually in line to win a segment earlier, if I'm not mistaken. But I think the pit strategy burned him there. I think this might be a redemption call for the 15 team, who has been so close to winning these segments, yet so far away. Coming to the line, we have 1 turn left. We are not at the mark yet. He still has about 30 seconds. What's going to happen? He comes across the line. He's coming down pit road. Looks like he's going to try the Dan Bandon strategy. So he slows it down. He's going to try and inch across the line. Let's see what he does. Wait a second. He's just crossed the line 10 seconds before the race is supposed to end. John Smith coming down pit road as well. The race is still going on. Nick Pericles hasn't won yet. Pericles has thrown it away. He pitted too soon. Oh no, Nick Pericles, why? He pitted 10 seconds before the race was supposed to end. So Thomas Beattie in the lead. Second place is Anthony McCrory, but he has a little while to go. Thomas Beattie just needs to survive one more lap. He's got fresh tires. He's got fuel. Beattie out front. Unless something goes horribly wrong for car number 83, it looks like the 83 machine of Thomas Beattie might go to victory lane. In segment number 1, they had Alyssa Kirby, who has type 1 diabetes. That's why they were running this paint scheme. That's why they're running for the team Racing for Diabetes. She managed to run 9 hours of this event without much issues. One round, they did go out due to electrical issue, but they kept the 83 car in the race. The other teammate, Matt Dool, an entrepreneur racer, trying his best with this open wheel car, something he does not have experience in, but giving them a safe, solid run. Thomas Beattie, car number 83. ran in select races in the Utica Track Series in the 2013 season. Plans on running the full schedule for 2014. Yet to go on the victory lane in anything. All three of these drivers have not had much success, with the exception of Matt Dool, who has won in the Utica Rallycross Series. But now, down the backstretch, going through the final turns, car number 83, Thomas Beattie, due to an error on Nick Pericles' part, is going to come to the line through these final turns. Here he comes. Your winner of the 24 Hours of Sebring is Thomas Beattie. What a great job for the 83 car. They're in tears in pit road. They're so happy. Look at them. What a finish for Thomas Beattie, and they're going to raise so much money for that charity. It's amazing. Thomas Beattie. It was a long road to get here, a long winding road around the Sebring circuit, but they've done it. Car number 83 goes on to victory. Second place is Anthony McCurry, followed by John Sadino in third. He's going to survive to the end. Brandon Crasta and Nick Pericles in fifth place. Threw it all away. The team in pit road is anguished. They are not happy. Pericles is furious in the car. It was so close. If only he slowed down a little bit. Followed by Voiles, Thoreau, Smith, Carter. Jason Truss crosses the line. Seth Cole. And lastly, Joshua Collard, who went from the pole, second to last. Luis Hernandez will finish 13th. Let's take a look at the final finishing results and some awards given out as the 24 Hours of Sebring is concluded. Thomas Beattie, the winner. Let's take a look at some of the awards handed out during the end of this event. These are the segment winners, the drivers that won the individual segments of the race. There are 8 winners, and there they are in front of you. Next are the driver MVP awards. The most valuable primary driver was Connor Vale. He had the best average finish of the primary drivers, finishing in the top 5 in all 3 of his segments. The MVP secondary driver is Dylan Thoreau. He finished in the top 10 in all 3 of his segments and came home with a win in his first segment, which would be segment number 2. And the MVP of the tertiary drivers is Eric Cardona. He finished in the top 5 in all 2 of his segments that he was on track. Next up is the Top Notch Designs team of the race. That goes to Jamaica Motorsports, who had an impressive run today with Connor Vale, Dylan Thoreau, and PJ Williams. 2 of the drivers actually making MVP. The Completionist Award for completing every single lap of the race, Connor Vale, Dylan Thoreau, PJ Williams, Alex Allen, Stephen Carter, and Alex Pedro. Both teams completed every lap. The Jeff Green Hey At Least You Show Up Award goes to Michael Aurelio and John Blackburn. Both of them failed to put down a lap today. Thank you for watching the 24 Hours of Sebring. It was amazing that we actually completed this task. I want to thank all the drivers involved with this race for coming out there and showing your support. Also want to thank the other commentators that have helped me out throughout the process, as it would not be possible without them. So thanks to everyone. If you want to see the entire race, it's going to be available in a playlist down below. If you want to see any other content on our channel, just let us know. Thank you for watching the 24 Hours of Sebring, and now we can finally go to sleep. So thank you for watching, everybody. See you later.